that during the long recess of the fourth session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instrument Act number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. This is a motion that the members will this afternoon consider and make those resolutions in this afternoon sitting. Also, the members of the Senate will consider yet another motion regarding the report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation, made on Wednesday, 24th July, the year 2024. This is a motion that will be moved by the Chairperson, Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration, and the committee will be seeking to have the Senate adopt that particular report regarding the implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation that was made on Wednesday, 24th July 2024, and that was laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 3rd June, the year 2025. This particular business will be a resumption of debate. Members of the Senate already canvassed this particular matter. A question this afternoon is to be put for the adoption of this particular report, and that will be happening settles and commences its sitting. If you're just joining us, that the House is about to commence its business. The time allocated for the sitting is 2:30 in the PM. The Speaker's procession is on its way into the chamber. Once that procession makes its way inside, that will be signaling that the House is about to commence. However, if there is a quorum hitch at the time the prayer is said and the chair taken, then that means or would mean that a quorum bell be rung, of course, for the senators to walk in. And we foresee that particular quorum hitch because from the number of members may not have reached 15, because that is the least number of members that if the House is to be deemed to have corrected, should be present in the chamber. But we believe that that quorum will be present. The Senate will also be considering a number of bills. These are bills that underwent debate already, conclusively and comprehensively at the second reading stage. And these are bills that have been coming up for division. However, owing to the lack of the numbers for division, this business has been deferred, and it's also part of the business that the members will be considering. However, as you can see, that is the Speaker of this Senate, Honorable Amason Jeffer King, already in the chamber to preside over this afternoon sitting. Allow me to hand you over to this live broadcast. Good afternoon.
Na tuombe. Mwenyezi Mungu, twakusihi ututazame kwa neema nyingi na baraka, sisi watumishi wako ambao umeridhika kutuita kwa nyadhifa za uongozi katika jamhuri hii yetu. Twakuomba tuwajalie tuyatenda na kufikiria mambo yote atakaofikishwa mbele yetu kwa njia ya haki na uaminifu, ili kustawisha amani, ufanisi na heri ya nchi yetu na wale ambao haja zao umesikabidhi mikononi mwetu. Amen. Clerk, do we have quorum? Sergeant at Arms, kindly ring the quorum bell for 10 minutes.
The prayer has been said and the chair taken. However, the sitting of the Senate cannot commence yet. This is due to the quorum hitch. The Speaker has directed that the quorum bell be rung for 10 minutes, as is the tradition, as provided for in the House Standing Orders. And of course, this is to give room to the members of the Senate who may be within the precincts of Parliament, however, running late, to be able to hasten their steps and join their colleagues in the chamber, and to be able to enable also the House raise that much needed quorum for it to be able to commence this afternoon. As the members sit, priority business include motions, consideration of motions. One regards the referral of statutory instruments and papers for tabling during recess, and also consideration of the report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on the Wednesday of 24th of July, the year 2024. Also, bills lined up for division, or rather to be considered at the division stage. They are bills that have gone through second reading, or rather have gone through debate and expected to go through second reading through division. However, this is subject to the number in the House at the time this particular business is reached. At least 24 delegations are needed to be present at the time of the consideration of this particular bills at this stage. If that is not present, then this business, or this particular business, is deferred until at a time when the House will have corrected enough for it to be able to dispense with these matters, especially at the division stage. The Office of the County Attorney Amendment Bill originating from the Senate, Bill number 47 of 2024, the Seeds and Plant Varieties Amendment Bill, also originating from the Senate, Bill number 4 of 2025, the County Hall of Fame Bill, also originating from the Senate, Bill number 18 of 2023, and the County Oversight and Accountability Bill, also originating from the Senate, Bill number 3 of 2024. These are bills that have been appearing in the order paper. However, owing to the lack of the quorum for these bills to be considered at the division stage and for them to be read a second time and also proceed on to the next stage, that is consideration at the committee of the whole, then that has made these particular bills not to be dispensed with yet. So that are also lined up for consideration this afternoon, and we believe that perhaps if the quorum is present, then they will be able to dispense with those bills pursuant to provisions of Standing Order 53, paragraph 1. The Senator for Turkana County, Honorable James Lomenen, will this afternoon seek a statement from the Standing Committee on National Security, Defense and Foreign Relations regarding the displacement of families residing along the shores of Lake Turkana in Turkana and Marsabit counties occasioned by the rising water levels. If you're just joining us, that the House is about to commence, the sitting is about to commence. More members are making their way into the chamber. The prayer has been said and the chair taken, but there was a quorum hitch. Allow me to hand you over to the business of the day.
Oath. Order number 2, communication from the chair. Order number 3, messages. Order number 4, petitions. Order number 5, papers.
The Senate Majority Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the Senate today, 11th of November 2025, which is the 21st biannual report on the status of alcohol and drug abuse control in Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I beg to lay.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health. No.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 11th November 2025. 1. The report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Laikipia and Meru counties. 2. Report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagement in Kilifi County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Finance and Budget.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to lay the following papers on the table of the Senate today, 11th November 2025. Report on the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the County Government Additional Allocation Bill, National Assembly Bill number 2 of 2025. Report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the County Government Revenue Raising Process Bill, National Assembly Bills number 11 of 2023. And report of the Standing Committee on Finance and Budget on the Public Audit Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 4 of 2024. I beg to lay.
Next order.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Notice of motion consideration of the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Laikipia and Meru counties. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight networking engagements in Laikipia and Meru counties laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 11th November 2025. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The Chairperson, Standing Committee on Health.
Notice of motion consideration of the report on the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Kilifi County. Mr. Speaker, sir, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that the Senate adopts the report of the Standing Committee on Health on the county oversight and networking engagements in Kilifi County, laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 11th November 2025. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Statements pursuant to Standing Order 53-1, Senator for Nandi County, the Honorable Samson Chirange.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. This is the first time I'm getting you are pronouncing my name very well, like my kidsmen. Request for statement on the status and challenges of medical infrastructure and personnel in Nandi County. I rise pursuant to Standing Order 53-1 to seek a statement from the Standing Committee on Health on a matter of county-wide concern regarding the status of medical infrastructure and challenges faced by medical personnel in Nandi County. So, Speaker, sir, Nandi County health sector continues to face critical gaps across all 7 sub-counties. This includes toll infrastructure projects, under-equipped facilities, acute staffing shortages, particularly in rural areas, and underutilization of newly constructed health center in all the 6 sub-counties, that is Mgwen, Chesume, Nandi Hills, and Tindred, and among others, Mr. Speaker, sir. The inconsistency rollout of digital health systems and limited community engagement have further exacerbated disparities in access and eroded public confidence in the county's ability to deliver timely, equitable, and quality health care, starting from Kapsabet County Referral Hospital. Urgent and coordinated intervention is required to address these shortcomings and restore trust in the health system. In the statement, Mr. Speaker, sir, the committee should address the following. 1, the progress made in observing the universal health coverage contract workers in the county into permanent and pensionable terms, and including the framework guiding their transition and the timelines involved. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, the performance of hospital revenue collection systems across all health facilities in Nandi County, the factors contributing to low revenue generation, and the reforms proposed to enhance financial sustainability and service delivery. So, Speaker, sir, number 3, the adequacy of staffing levels in health facilities, particularly in newly constructed centers and rural areas, such as in Aldai, Kapsengere, and Kobujai and Tindred in Marapa sub-county, among other areas within the sub-counties, in the county's strategy for recruitment, retention, and incentivization of medical personnel. Kiingereza kubwa sana hiyo. Number 4, the implementation status of key health infrastructure projects, including Kapsabet County Referral Hospital upgrade, the Mother and Child Hospital complex in Kapsabet County, and the Kapsengere multi-story hospital, with reference into initial budgets, timelines, and actual progress. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the availability and functionality of medical equipment in upgraded and new facilities, including plans to operationalize diagnostic units and surgical theaters that remain idle due to equipment gaps or lack of trained personnel. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I must have spoken Nandi the whole weekend. Sorry.
Senator for Turkana County, Senator James Lomenan. Now, honorable senators will allow comments for not more than 15 minutes from the statement sought by the senator for Nandi. We start with Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to support the statement by Senator for Nandi on the issue of medical equipments and generally medical infrastructure in our hospitals. I think, Mr. Speaker, when you talk about one county hospital, the scenario replicates in almost every county hospital, where the issue of management of equipment still is a major issue, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, even in my own county, Vihiga Referral Hospital, there has been cases of equipment malfunction, some which have even gone for 6 months, and the patients are suffering. You find that the CT scan, for example, is not working, now forcing
the patients to be referred to private hospitals to do basic things like CT scan and other small things. So I think this statement is very timely, and how I wish the Committee for Health could also look at the other hospitals, actually all the 47 counties, so that they can bring a consolidated report for consideration by this House. Mr. Speaker, you know, previously we had the mess arrangement, but now we have something else called the NES, which again, it is slightly better than the mess, but the cost of services, it seems to be higher. So that means it is taking away a good revenue that counties should be getting. Mr. Speaker, there is only one thing that I must appreciate has led to improvement in our hospitals, the FIF, which this House passed, which requires that the revenues generated by the hospitals is retained for use in those hospitals. Mr. Speaker, this is a system that in the long run is going to ensure we have efficient and proper financial management in our hospitals. So, Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I want to support the statement by the Senator for Nandi, who is my neighbor, and who is very good in bringing good statements. But, Mr. Speaker, sometimes my friend makes statements that are not in line.
Senator Osotsi, you're done. Kindly take your seat. Senator Wakoli. Now, honorable senators, you have a maximum of 3 minutes when you take to the floor. Yes. Senator Wakoli.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for this opportunity. My friend, Senator Chenegei, calm your lips so that I can spew some wisdom. Honorable Speaker, it is very disturbing, and I want to concur with the statement of my good Senator Chenegei, that the status of infrastructure, equipment, and human resources in our various health facilities is wanting and in a downward trend. Honorable Speaker, we have visited various county referral facilities in the country. We have gone to Isiolo, Marsabit, Makueni, Kitui, Garissa, Laikipia. Honorable Speaker, and the latest was in Kiambu yesterday. Honorable Speaker, is perturbing to visit facilities that by their names are huge, but their service is pathetic and inhumane. Honorable Speaker, we visited the morgue in Kiambu. They didn't have refrigerators to keep bodies safe. People were lumped there as garbage, Honorable Speaker. The situation was not humane, Honorable Speaker, and I was referring to my friends and telling them, Kenyans are suffering, toiling and moiling. In hospital, they are being exposed to serious medication pain, and in their deaths, they are being dumped as if no one cares. Honorable Speaker, this House and senators, wherever we come from, we must step up and stand for our people. Medical incinerators, Honorable Speaker, in virtually all the facilities is wanting. Some facilities are dumping medical remains open air, and children are living around there. And when you look at the data, they have taken over 3 months before they dispose of those things. And the scenario is worse in many other parts of the country. So I want to call upon this House and my committee led by Senator Mandago. This week we'll be touring my great county of Bungoma and Kakamega. We will call a spade a spade. We'll call out these gray areas. And time is up, equally, Honorable Speaker, that the national government, as it supports counties, they must also, as they support, they must call the counties to order. Because governors are turning out to associate themselves with projects that are from national government, but they want to disown their own facilities. They are hiding their own facilities and taking credit from bonga points of His Excellency the President. So we are supposed to stand firm and defend our people. Some of the pharmacies, Honorable Speaker, medicines are expired. And you find even in operation theaters, expired drugs, in ambulances, expired drugs, people working in those facilities without equipment and safety gears. How are we exposing our people to such dangers? And yet they are always crying that SHA is not remitting, and if SHA is remitting, they are not accountable to the monies that are being paid by SHA. We have to hold these governors to account, and equally the ministers and chief officers in those line ministries, because some of them believe that governors will be hanged as they go scot-free out in those counties. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.
The clerk at the table, the maximum is 3 minutes for Senator taking to the floor. Senator Eddie Okech.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to actually just make very quick few comments on this statement with the formerly good Senator of Nandi, now becoming not a very... Are you paid by Senator Cherargei? Yes, but on a more serious note, Mr. Speaker, this statement looks at variable issues that we have focused on in this House, Mr. Speaker, that I think that have got different pieces of legislation that we passed that could actually be able to equip our hospitals. And I don't think that the issues that are raised here on the healthcare systems in Nandi are not dissimilar to other counties that we have, Mr. Speaker. I spent this weekend in Migori County, and Mr. Speaker, I visited the people of Nyamuga in East Kamagambo in Rongo. And Mr. Speaker, just starting even from very simple thing as what we passed in Turkana, which we call the community health promoters. Mr. Speaker, do you know that the community health promoters are not getting their money? They're not being paid at all. The national government's contribution is not getting to them. The county government is even monotorious, is not paying these people. Yet they are working diligently day and night to be able to complement and supplement some of the services that are being given by these health centers and even dispensaries, Mr. Speaker. So we have got pieces of legislation that should be able to guide these issues that are just not being followed, that I hope that this committee will look at. I would want to see the community health promoters of Migori County and in extension other environments outside Migori County in the name of counties being paid. Mr. Speaker, in this House, you remember when you were not here, Mr. Speaker, was thrown out sometimes back for talking vehemently on the issue of universal health care coverage in our country, Mr. Speaker. Why is it that it's becoming consistently a problem that these people cannot be confirmed into P&P? Yet there is resources that are diffused to other places, Mr. Speaker, and these people have been... This thing is not fair.
Senator, the Majority Leader, Senator for Makueni. Senator Manzo, take your seat and kindly be orderly. Majority Leader, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I want to just say a few things about what Senator Cherargei is asking us to introspect about as a House on the facility of health facilities in our county, not necessarily Nandi County alone, but to remind the House, Mr. Speaker, that we need to take time and understand the laws that we passed. The 4 health laws that we passed in Turkana are supposed to sort this mess. Yes. The facility improvement fee, Mr. Speaker, if you take time to listen and speak to medical superintendents of all the county level hospitals, they will be able to draw out a picture for you of part of the bigger challenge that our health facilities used to have, where majority of Kenyans will seek treatment, Mr. Speaker, and because of the economic situations that we find ourselves in as a country, Mr. Speaker, will be unable to pay. A big percentage of that has been sorted, Mr. Speaker, with many Kenyans now registered under SHA. The only problem, Mr. Speaker, and you remember I raised this last week or 2 weeks ago when we had the Cabinet Secretary for Health, is that up to now, I have asked for this information and I don't know why it is being hidden like bang. I hope our members of Health Committee can help us appreciate what is the compensation that is going to specific county, health facility by health facility. So that as I sit here, Mr. Speaker, I can talk to my people and advise them and tell them, ignore the rhetoric that sometimes you hear from politicians. Counties that have a higher number of registered residents who are seeking health services from public health institutions are benefiting more than those that don't have workable health facilities. But how will I know that, Mr. Speaker, if that information is not made readily available to me as a legislator? I want to plead with the members of the Health Committee, Mr. Speaker. Though the minister promised this House that that's part of the reports that he shall be filing with this House in compliance with Regulation 42 of the health laws, Mr. Speaker, can it come as a special report to this House so that I know, Mr. Speaker, how much has been paid as compensation in lieu of service to the various health facilities in my county? Because that's the first answer to this problem that Senator Cherargei is speaking about, Mr. Speaker. Because when health facilities are compensated, Mr. Speaker, and the resources are properly managed, remember, we have now ring-fenced those resources. They cannot be appropriated to do anything else. They can only be used to improve the health, the operational standards of our health facilities, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, Mr. Speaker, it is my hope and prayer that the Health Committee, before we break for the long recess, can table this report in this House, Mr. Speaker. I don't see the chair or the vice chair, but I believe maybe they are members of that committee, Mr. Speaker. If they can help us to get that particular report, then we can make head out of tail out of this situation. I thank you.
Senator Onyonka.
Mr. Speaker, I want to first of all say thank you for giving me this opportunity. And with a lot of humility, I would like to say that I congratulate my friend and my young brother called Alan, the senator of Trans Nzoia County. I was unable to attend your wedding because I was out of the country, but I do have a present for you from Kisii County for you and your madam. I would like to congratulate you for joining the club of those who might end up in heaven. Thank you, sir. Mr. Speaker, I would like to say that I belong to the Health Committee. I was in Kiambu County yesterday, and we have visited several counties like my colleagues have said. Mr. Speaker, the situation is not helpless. I was actually surprised that when we visited Kiambu County, even when we found the challenges and the mess that was at the referral hospital, where the kitchen doesn't even have equipment and machinery that is cooking the food, the ceilings are collapsing. Mr. Speaker, I was shocked that patients in Kiambu Hospital have never eaten meat. Patients are never given an egg, or do we have sugar? I mean, it was really a very, very painful scenario. Even though that was the case, Mr. Speaker, there was also very good information from Kiambu County Health Services. Why? Because they have done 24 level 3 and level 4 hospitals, which are all brand new. We visited those facilities, and Mr. Speaker, they were quite impressive. The governor has officers, some of them who have worked very well and very good for the county, but some of them have been a problem. Some of them have gone and opened hospitals, their own personal hospitals in Ruiru and in Thika. Some of the medicines are found there, and I want to mention to this House, Mr. Speaker, because we really don't have time to go into all this. Mr. Speaker, I have a very special request to make to my colleagues. We need to get out of this building and go to the counties, Mr. Speaker. Every single place we have visited, we have seen that there were changes. When we went to Machakos, the employees who had not been paid their salaries for 1 year, others 1.5 years, after about 2 days they were paid. The governors gave us access. We visited many of the facilities that had a problem. And what we are saying, Mr. Speaker, is that the reality of, as a senator now, is that when we visit these facilities, action is taken. So I would like the Agriculture Committee, the Health Committee, the Education Committee to get out of this place where we are.
Senator Kenyo.
Asante Bwana Spika kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza kabisa, kuanzia mwanzo ni kusema ya kwamba afya ni muhimu sana katika maisha ya binadamu yoyote. Kwa hivyo kamati inayohusika, taarifa hii iliyoletwa na Senator wa Nandi, Senator Cherargei, ni ya muhimu sana na inapaswa kuangaziwa kabisa. Ukiangalia Bwana Spika, ushuru unaopatikana katika hospitali zetu, mara kwa mara unapata governor kwa sababu anaambiwa kuhusu barabara, kuhusu maji, kwa sababu wananchi mahali ameenda katika baraza, unapata hela zote zinapelekwa katika mambo ya barabara na mambo yale mengine, lakini afya inawachwa. Bwana Spika, ukiangalia hata vifaa ambavyo vinatumika katika hospitali zetu ni vifaa ambavyo ni za kitambo sana Bwana Spika. Ilhali tukikaa katika seneti hii, katika ugawi wa hela, tunaendelea kugawa hela katika kaunti zetu Bwana Spika. Ukitembelea hata zahanati Bwana Spika, zahanati ziko katika hali mbaya. Nakumbuka mhula uliopita Bwana Spika, hiko vifaa vilivyokuwa vimepelekwa katika hospitali zetu. Ukienda katika hospitali hizo unapata vifaa vyenyewe vinahitaji stima. Stima zilizoko katika hospitali zetu haziwezi vikatumia vile vifaa Bwana Spika, hata maji hakuna. Kwa hivyo unapata watu wanaendelea kupata matatizo, na si Nandi peke yake Bwana Spika, hili jambo linapita Kenya mzima. Kila sehemu unapata hospitali dawa hakuna. Ukiuliza mambo ya dawa unaambiwa ya kwamba ati shida si gatuzi, shida ni KEMSA. Bwana Spika, hili jambo linapaswa liangaziwe na kamati inayohusika, ikiwa mwenzangu nimesikia hapa akiongea, ni wafanye jambo ndio ili hii hali iweze kuwa hali Bwana Spika. Kwa sababu wakati huu wote tunaongea hapa na kuendelea kugawa hela Bwana Spika, unapata pale katika gatuzi zetu haya mambo hayachukulii kwa vile ambavyo inayofaa Bwana Spika. Ukitembelea hospitali kama ya Nyahururu, hospitali haina dawa. Wafanyikazi, madaktari ambao wanapaswa kufanya kazi pale hawajalipwa kwa miezi. Kwa hivyo unapata wanasusia kufanya ile kazi, wananchi wanaendelea kuumia. Kwa hivyo hii taarifa iliyoletwa na Senator wa Nandi Cherargei ikifika katika kamati yetu waishughulikie, ndio waweze kuleta ripoti hapa, ambayo ripoti yenyewe tutaweza kuifuatilia, na tusikue tu Bwana Spika sisi ni kuongea. Na vile vile bajeti ya kitaifa isiwe ndio bajeti kubwa kushinda bajeti ya wale ambao iko katika gatuzi zetu, kwa sababu unapata 70% inabaki katika gatuzi, katika
the minority leader.
Asante Mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, kwanza nataka kumpatia heko seneta wa Nandi kwa kuleta hii taarifa hapa ndani ya bunge la Senate. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunaona ya kwamba kuna upotevu wa nidhamu ndani ya serikali, hususan kwa upande ule wa unaohusika na mambo ya hospitali. Afya za binadamu ni kitu muhimu sana kuliko kitu chochote. Hata tukafanya namna gani, ni lazima tutambue ya kwamba binadamu bila kuwa na afya nzuri hawezi kuwa binadamu wa kikamilifu. Bwana Spika, mimi kama mmoja wa wale watu katika ile kamati ya afya, niliweza kupata nafasi ya kuenda katika hospitali ya Kiambu. Bwana Spika, maajabu niliyoona pale yalikuwa kitu cha ajabu sana, kwa sababu utapata ya kwamba mama wanasema wanajua multitask, lakini pale walikuwa wamelemewa. Kwa sababu kitu cha kwanza utaona ya kwamba wako na mtoto mgongoni, ako na mtoto mchanga amemshikilia hivi, na yeye mwenyewe ni mgonjwa. Daktari tulikwenda pale mapema, na tulipouliza maswali ilikuwa ni kwamba kuanzia saa 1 walipoingia mpaka inaenda saa 5 wakina mama hawajapata matibabu ya aina yoyote kulingana na ule ugonjwa waliokuja nao. Upotevu kama huu, Bwana Spika, tunasema ukome, kwa sababu ni jambo la aibu karne ya sasa kuona mtu anaweza kwenda hospitali na alafu asimuone daktari na amekwenda mapema iwezekanavyo. La pili ama la mwisho, kuongezea, sio Nandi peke yake, lakini ukiangalia vyumba ama kule ambako watu huenda wakalala. Bwana Spika, tunaishi kwa shida katika nchi yetu ya Kenya. Kuna shida nyingi mbalimbali, na mtu anaweza kuteseka akiwa anaishi, lakini heshima inapewa kwa maiti. Na ndio sababu hata mtu akiwa mmekosana namna gani, lazima utaheshimu ile maiti. Lakini utapata ya kwamba katika hospitali hii ya hapa Kiambu, ni jambo la kusikitisha kwamba mrundo wa binadamu, mimi sijaona kitu kama hicho. Mrundo wa binadamu umewekwa namna hii, wamepandana juu juu. Huyu amekufa hapa, amewekwa hapa, mama pia amekufa, pia amebandikwa juu ya maiti ingine, mtoto amekufa pia amebandikwa hapo. Unaona kama ambayo si ukweli. Lakini ukweli wa mambo ni kwamba sijaona kitendo kama hicho kitendeka katika hospitali yote isipokuwa hospitali ya. Bwana Spika, ni jambo muhimu.
Order is a point of order, Majority Leader.
My apologies to apologies, Leader. I didn't intend to interrupt you, though I have done it. But Mr. Speaker, I'm just struggling, like any member of the public would, following the proceedings of the House this afternoon. Kiambu, which is being mentioned, it is said that a committee of this House visited. But the things that are being said are completely contradictory. I listened to Senator Onyonka paint a very rosy picture of health facilities in Kiambu. And now I'm struggling to listen to the leader say the opposite. For a citizen that is following the proceedings of the Senate this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, won't they struggle not to understand what exactly is happening unless...
Senate Majority Leader, that is not a point of order. And you have to understand that, the Minority Leader is also a member of that particular committee. So he's talking on a point of knowledge. He is basically an eyewitness in other... No, you are not, that is not a point of order, because first Senate Majority Leader, I'll give you a second bite to this. Proceed to state the standing order that has been breached by Senator Mazayo, and then state your case to show that Senator Mazayo is actually disorderly.
Speaker, statement of fact on 105. That's the struggle I'm having. Senator Mazayo, and it need not be necessarily about him, because it's not him I'm discussing. I'm just wondering, what is the true representation of the facts as per that committee? Because listening to all the members, what is factual, Mr. Speaker? Because I cannot understand whether the members of that committee agree that there is a dire situation in Kiambu, or, Mr. Speaker, that things are okay. Unless I didn't understand what the two members are trying to converse.
Now, so, honorable senators. I think the Minority Leader is contributing to this statement in his capacity as the Senator for Kilifi. If indeed the Committee of Health went to Kiambu, we await their report. So the Senator for Kilifi is quite in order to state what he saw in Kiambu. If it contradicts the report, proceed, Senator for Kilifi.
Asante Mstahiki Spika. Mstahiki Spika, kwa kumalizia tu ni kwamba Mstahiki Spika, ile iliyoko ni jambo la aibu, ni jambo ambalo halina heshima kwa binadamu kuweza kuwekwa namna hiyo, ikiwa hali yao ni lazima waketi kwa amani, ni lazima waheshimiwe. Kwa hiyo sisi tunaomba tu ya kwamba katika hizi zahanati zetu zote katika nchi yetu ya Kenya, wale wote ambao wamepatikana na msiba, ambao wamepatikana na kifo kama hicho, ni lazima ile miili iwekwe kwa hali ya heshima. Na ndio sababu tunasema ya kwamba yale tulioyaona ni maajabu. Can I be heard in silence, please?
Order, honorable senators. May the Minority Leader be heard in silence. Proceed to conclude, Minority Leader.
Kwa hiyo Bwana Spika, ni kwamba yale mambo ambayo tuliyaona kule. Nataka kusema tuko jambo la kusikitisha na kwamba ni lazima hatua zichukuliwe na kamati na recommendation ifanywe ili mageuzi yaweze kupatikana ndani ya ile hospitali ya Kiambu. Asante Bwana Spika.
Senator Mogeni.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, I want to thank Senator Cheragei for bringing this matter to the attention of the House, and I will be riding on this statement, Mr. Speaker, that when the committee does this inquiry, it can extend this inquiry to other counties. Mr. Speaker, I want to give my personal experience, and I've listened to Cheragei. About this of our health facilities as a country, Mr. Speaker. When you are talking about adequacy of staffing levels, Mr. Speaker, most of our counties don't have oncologists, doctors that can attend cancer patients, Mr. Speaker. You go to Nyamira, we don't have an oncologist, Mr. Speaker. You're talking about equipment, diagnostic, Mr. Speaker. In my county of Nyamira, we don't have an MRI machines to attend to cancer patients, Mr. Speaker. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, this afternoon, I'm mourning an uncle of mine who has passed on due to cancer. Mr. Speaker, went to Nyamira Hospital, and the best that the doctors could recommend is that go to Nairobi and seek expert treatment. And Mr. Speaker, when some of us come to this house and say that SHA is not working, it's because of the personal experiences we have gone through. Mr. Speaker, we incurred a bill at Nairobi Hospital of 1.34 million. And the only portion that SHA paid was 218,000, Mr. Speaker. So how can we tell Kenyans that SHA is working? I mean, let's be serious. Let's be serious, Senator. Let's be serious. Most of us, Mr. Speaker, when we get sick, we go and flash our medical cards in hospital because we have all those benefits. But the poor of the poorest in this country, Mr. Speaker, don't get any assistance from this thing you call SHA, Mr. Speaker. So let's call a spade, Mr. Speaker. Because we are leading comfortable lives, because we have this good medical cover, Mr. Speaker, that should not.
What is the point of order, Senator Fernandez?
Mr. Speaker, I'm standing under order 105 on a statement of fact. Senator Okongo Mugeni, my senior and the Commissioner in Parliamentary Service Commission, knows insurance operate on packages. Is it in order to use this flow to mislead the people of Nyamira and Kenyans that SHA should pay the entire bill? Yet it's a common knowledge. No, we don't work with promises.
Order. Senator for Nairobi.
Can you...
Senator for Nairobi. Senator for Nairobi. Senator for Nairobi. You don't have the floor. Whether it was promised or not, at the appropriate time, you will have the floor. For now, you don't have the floor. Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, and protect me from this heckler. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to say is...
Senator Fernandez, withdraw the word heckler. Withdraw it immediately.
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw the word heckler and replace it to the word heckling. Mr. Speaker, what I wanted to say is very simple. Statement of fact on 105. Can the Senator of Nyamira and the Commissioner of Parliamentary Service Commission, because we use also those insurance, including yourself, that the medical package of insurance does not pay in entirety? Is it in order?
Appreciate whether indeed it covered what the law allows SHA to cover and pay, or it not cover the entire cost and yet the law demands not cover the entire cost and yet the law demands that SHA pays everything. That SHA pays everything.
Mr. Speaker, I am at at a loss on what point of order has been raised by Senator Cherargei. I've stated a fact before this House that a patient has incurred a bill of 1.34 million and the SHA has paid only 218,000. And what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker,
Order, Senator Fernandi, can you allow the Senator for Nyamira to conclude?
Let him explain first.
Senator for Nyamira to conclude.
Let him explain first.
Proceed.
Mr. Speaker, I don't know whether...
Order, Senator Fernandi. Now, Senator Mogeni, let me just make it simple.
Mr. Speaker, can I know whether the Senator of Nandi rejoices when Kenyans die? These are serious matters, Mr. Speaker. Have you been appointed to have a souls of Kenyans? I'm talking about a serious matter about the health of Kenyans.
Order, Honorable Senator, order. Senator Mogeni, kindly take your seat. Kindly take your seat. Need not degenerate to this kind of chaotic exchanges. Now, the point of order that has been raised by the Senator Fernandi is, according to him, you are misleading the House for stating the wrong facts. That's why he raised it on 105. According to him, SHA does not pay the entire amount. Just like any other insurance, it pays a certain percentage, which it did pay as per the law. So your assertion that SHA is not working, so requires a political party Order, honorable senators. Order. For those who are continuing to laugh, you may be thrown out. Order. Now, honorable senators, what then the Senator Fernandi is saying is you're misleading the House and the public by stating that SHA ought to have paid for the entire amount. And yes, under the law, SHA is supposed to pay a percentage, and in which case it did pay that percentage, and therefore SHA is working. That is point of order.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, I think we are splitting here. The point I've made before this House is very simple. SHA is supposed to meet the medical needs of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. When I go to a hospital with a SHA card, what I expect as a speaker is that my medical expenses will be met by the SHA card, Mr. Speaker. So if I go to hospital and if you calculate 1.34, that's about 10%. You cannot pay 10% of my bill and then you cheat us that SHA is not working. That's the point I'm making. Can I be informed by Senator of Nairobi?
Yes, Senator for Nairobi, you may proceed to inform the Senator for Nairobi.
Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable senators.
Mr. Speaker,
let's hear the Senator for Nairobi City Council.
I wanted to inform the Senator from Nyamira that indeed I don't feel misled, because the initial promise, why we moved from NHIF, where people were paying almost the same amount irrespective of the income that you earn, to a graduated payment system, the promise made by none other than the heads of state himself, and in fact I remember the words that he used, that Harambes for raising hospital bills would be a thing of the past, because the medical scheme that we are going to put in is going to cover health care for all. And there was no rider. At that particular moment in time, nobody told us, Honorable Speaker, that it would be for 10% or a portion. That is the justification, Honorable Speaker, why my contribution moved from less than 1,000 to 33,000. And he was telling us that those of us who are able to pay more should do so, so that Harambes are a thing of the past. Are Kenyans still holding Harambes to fund Medicare? Yes, they are. Therefore, SHA is not working. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Now, honorable senators, honorable senators. Honorable senators, we just to guide the House, sitting in Turkana County, we went through a set of laws that gave birth to SHA. And therefore, the matter of SHA is no longer based on a promise that was made somewhere. It is based in the law. So in that particular law that this House took part in passing, did you pass in that law that when someone checks into a hotel or if someone becomes sick or someone undergoes a certain procedure and that certain, the bill comes, for example, $1 million, under that law, did you pass that the entire amount was supposed to be covered by SHA, or under the law you passed, it was a percentage of the total amount? I want to be referred to the law, not to a promise that was made somewhere.
Speaker, if you remember, and the answer can bear me witness, I am one of those people who opposed this particular legislation, Honorable Speaker. And there is something in law called obtaining by false promises and pretenses. Speaker, even as late as 2 weeks ago, the President was telling Kenyans that if you go to hospital and you are asked for money, you report that person to the nearest police station. So, on what law was he basing that promise? He must understand, Honorable Speaker, that when you speak from the office of the President, that is not a position. In fact, the law is that you are not allowed to give information that is misleading under the Public Officers Ethics Act. The question then we have to ask, Honorable Speaker, the promise that was made, the perception that has been created out there, whose problem is that? Personally, I voted against that law and I brought amendments to that law on this particular floor, including one to cap the limits of the contribution. But they told us, no, increase your contributions so that those of us who do not have income are able to get free Medicare. That is how it was sold. If that has changed, Honorable Speaker, let us be told. But I know what I voted against on this floor. I know the amendments that I brought, and some of these hecklers here are the ones who voted for this law, and they are here telling us SHA is working.
Senator,
and people are dying in the states.
Order, honorable senators, order. Now, Senator for Nairobi City County, kindly withdraw the word heckler. A few minutes ago, the Senator for Nandi referred you to a heckler, and I refused that term to remain unanswered. Kindly proceed to withdraw.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, they say what's good for the goose is good for the gander. I will withdraw heckler and replace with heckling.
Very well. Now, honorable senators, we have procedures in this House. The Senator for Nairobi City County rose to inform the Senator. Yes, but there is a procedure. If you have more information you want to inform the Senator for Mogeni, you ask to inform, I will allow. Otherwise, I cannot just open this debate. But honorable senators, Senator Mogeni, just take a seat. I think, honorable senators, it will help us and it will help the House and the country if we take time to look at the laws that we passed. If we can be able to look at the laws that we passed. Because if you look at the law, order, honorable senators. Okay. Let's take time to look at the law. It will save us from the kind of exchanges that I've seen. Senator Mogeni, you may proceed.
Mr. Speaker, if you go to the answer, Mr. Speaker, how can I be informed by...
Senator Mogeni, there are 3 senators wishing to inform you. One is Senator Omtata, the other is Senator Fonandi, and the third is, it is up to the chair to rule on the time. And the third senator wishing to inform you is the majority leader. Would you wish to get this information? Would you wish to be informed?
Mr. Speaker, I can never accept to be informed by Senator Cheragei. But Senator Mtata, yes.
You may proceed, Senator.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm reading Section 2 of the Act. The universal social need. Let me read it for you then. The Social Health Insurance Act. I'm reading part 2, and I want to read the definition of universal health care. They say universal health coverage means that all individuals and communities receive the health services they need, including the full spectrum of essential quality health services, from health promotion to prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, palliative care, without suffering financial hardship. That is the law.
Conclude your
Mr. Speaker, I want to state that I'm happy that Senator Mtata has read that section of the law. And I did not just come here to heckle, Mr. Speaker. As I speak this afternoon, Mr. Speaker, I have an uncle, Joash Abuga Mogeni, who passed on at Nairobi Hospital and has been forced to pay 1.1 million shillings.
Desk clerk, did you exclude the time the points of orders were raised? Your time is up, Honorable. I'll give you 30 seconds to conclude.
When we raise these issues, Mr. Speaker, it's because, Mr. Speaker, why we raise these matters before the House is because, Mr. Speaker, we want the Honorable Senator to represent Kenyans, to know what is happening out there, and to be truthful, Mr. Speaker. It's not a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker, when Mr. Speaker, please, can you allow me to conclude? Senator Cheruyot.
Order, Senator Fernandez.
Senator Cheruyot.
Order.
Senator Cheruyot.
Conclude.
Wait for people to die in Kericho and
conclude.
Celebrate. For me,
order, honorable senators. Kindly allow the Senator for Nyamira to conclude his remarks.
No, you can go and celebrate when they die in Kericho. For us, we are here to defend the lives of the people of Nyamira and other counties.
Conclude, Honorable Mogeni.
Mr. Speaker, I don't have the mic. So, Mr. Speaker, I'll make a very special appeal on this statement that the Committee on Health, Mr. Speaker, must make a serious inquiry on the functionality of SHA, Mr. Speaker, and tell Kenyans the truth. Mr. Speaker, if SHA is not functioning, let's be honest, let's be truthful. Let us not play politics with the health of Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. That's why we were elected, Mr. Speaker, as leaders, Mr. Speaker, to speak for the poor. I support.
Now, Senator Seki.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I also want to support a statement from Senator Cheragei on the issues of challenges of medical infrastructure personnel in Nandi County. Honorable Speaker, this problem of health has been a very big problem to Kenyans. And it is true that as we debate, it is good that we come into a reality that this has been a big problem. Honorable Speaker, every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday, weekdays, we have Harambes across the country, in all the wards and all the sub-counties in the country, in our constituencies that we represent. Honorable Speaker, It is true that SHA has a big challenge, and without making a lot of politics in it, it is a reality. Because I remember that we said that we'll have a free medical health care, Honorable Speaker. And it is true that there is no help that SHA is giving to the common mwananchi. I also have a grandmother whom I usually try to pay SHA just for outpatient only, Honorable Speaker. And there is no services for outpatient in SHA. Yet, in NHIF, Honorable Speaker, NHIF had outpatient services. But now in SHA, there is no outpatient. Honorable Speaker, I don't know what kind of health care do we have in SHA if we don't have outpatient, leave alone other services. You get a patient who has 1.5 million, it only pays 100,000 or even 80,000. So what kind of scheme is this that you cannot even have a half payment of that scheme? Honorable Speaker, it is true that we need to review this without putting a lot of politics, without getting into agitating even into politics, even making arguments. But it is true. If that is the law that says that we only pay 1% of every medical bill, then that is wrong. We need to rectify that. But I am very sure it is just a way of getting money from the common mwananchi, and we are not giving services to the mwananchi. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Senator Kavindu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support this statement by Senator Cheregai. Mr. Speaker, it is true the infrastructures in most of the counties are wanting, and even the machines that are used like MRI, CT scan, and ultrasound machines, X-rays. You go to hospitals and you find that there is no machine which is working, and our citizens are suffering because they are paid SHA so that they can be treated in those hospitals, but they are always being referred to go and take these examinations from other hospitals. Mr. Speaker, even the UHC workers, they are suffering, and I remember the president in Mombasa gave order that they should be employed permanently by the counties, and I believe there was an allocation for them to be employed from the National Assembly, and I'm wondering why they are still being paid as casuals and not permanent. And so I'm requesting the Committee for Health to continue visiting counties, and I want to thank them so much. For last week, they visited Machakos, and the employees who are not paid casuals were paid immediately. But there are still others who have been not paid from Matu Level 4 Hospital and from Kangundo. And I'm requesting that every committee now move to the counties, because at the count level, we have a lot of work to do there through the committees, so that we can support devolution and make devolution work. I support this statement. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Mandago.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I've read the statement by Senator Cherargei. Indeed, there are some concerns, Honorable Speaker, that need to be addressed. But allow me, Honorable Speaker, to just speak on the matter of SHA. Honorable Speaker, first I want to urge my colleagues, it is good to be candid and honest. We have made visits to several counties, Honorable Speaker. Yesterday we were in Kiambu County together with my members. And Honorable Speaker, it is true to say SHA is working only and only if you are registered and paid up. What I want to urge my colleagues is that the lower population that are not able to pay was supposed to be onboarded as indigents, and county governments working in liaison with national government should have worked together to ensure that the lower cadre of the population who are unable to pay are enlisted through the indigent. Honorable Speaker, when we were in Kiambu, we found teenage mothers, over 30 of them, who had been in hospital, discharged, but not left because they are not paid. One, because some of them were underage, they don't have IDs, and they have not been assisted to get a special number from SHA. Honorable Speaker, if SHA has gone to the extent of making sure that even a mother without an ID, a special number can be allocated to enable them to get that service, it means those responsible are going out of their way to make sure it is accessible. Number two, Honorable Speaker, when we talk to the governor, Honorable Speaker, and we ask the governor through his health department and the social workers in Kiambu to evaluate those mothers, and if they fall under the indigent category, the county government of Kiambu, in their own budget, Honorable Speaker, had budgeted 120 million to onboard indigents. And that is how those mothers yesterday were registered in SHA, they were paid for by SHA, and they were discharged, Honorable Speaker, by the time we left Kiambu County. So I want to urge my colleagues, let's ask our residents, the people we represent, to register in SHA. We all passed this law here, and we said, you must register. You must pay some amount. Number two, Honorable Speaker, we must understand, when I heard the Senator for Kajiado saying SHA is not offering outpatient services, I was wondering whether he was sitting in this house when we passed. First and foremost, SHA does not offer services. It is the hospitals. Every leader of the delegation in this Senate should go back to their counties and ask their governors, why is level 1, level 2 facilities are not working, and yet there are reimbursements from SHA that are being reimbursed to those facilities, Honorable Speaker. You will be surprised, Honorable Speaker, a county like Mombasa took 5 million from facility improvement that was reimbursed, and they went for an agriculture seminar.
One more minute.
Honorable Speaker, when funds have gone to those facilities...
Order, Senator Fernandez.
When funds have gone to those facilities, Honorable Speaker, it is our responsibility as the senators of those counties to make sure those funds are being utilized.
Senator Mandago, would you wish to be informed by the Senator for Machakos?
Honorable Speaker, as a Senator of Machakos, we solved our problem, so she should just hold her horses. I finished my submission. Honorable Speaker, finally, let me say this, Honorable Speaker, about the issues of... Honorable Speaker,
Senator from Machakos, we are not going to allow that. The chair will not allow that. Proceed, Senator Mandago.
Yes, I hope that you are freezing the time when I was being interrupted. Honorable Speaker, I also wanted to say this. On the issue of USC workers, you know, let us not just find it fashionable to bash the president left, right, and center. Even for matters, the decisions have been made, funds have been provided. Every elected senator of this Senate should go back to their county and ask their governors, why have they been given money and they don't want to convert the USC workers into PNP? Honorable Speaker, why are they recruiting additional workers in counties and they don't want to absorb the USC staff? And then they go around saying, oh, you know, the national government, funds have been provided. Governors should just simply...
Conclude, Senator Mandago.
Yes. Honorable Speaker, they must convert those workers into PNP because they have the money. They should stop posturing around. These are Kenyans who helped this country in the most critical time. Probably some of us could not have been alive. Finally, Honorable Speaker, on the issue of reimbursement of SHA, we agree there are a few delays here and there, but we must also let the people know there is a problem in counties in terms of submitting the claims, attaching the necessary documents for those claims to be payable, and even when SHA returns to them, they need to act on them on time. The other thing that's happening in counties is the accumulation of the bills before they are being submitted. The way the system of SHA works is first in submitted, first in paid out, and that is what counties should do. Everybody must do their part of the process in order for healthcare to be affordable and accessible in this country, Honorable Speaker.
Next order, but before the next order is read out, I have this communication to make. Just take your seat as Honorable Senator. Honorable Senators, I would like to acknowledge the presence in the public gallery this afternoon, visiting teachers and learners from BZB Junior Secondary School in Mombasa County. The delegation consists of 3 teachers and 28 learners. In our usual tradition of receiving and welcoming guests to Parliament, I extend a warm welcome to the delegation, and on behalf of the Senate and my own behalf, wish them a fruitful visit. I had seen the Senator for Mombasa County. I will allow Senator Crystal Asige under 1 minute to extend a word of welcome.
Thank you very much, Speaker, for giving me the opportunity to greet and welcome BZB School into the Senate. I have an affinity towards this school because the owner of the school, Madam Christine, is my auntie, and she does a fantastic job. In fact, the teachers might remember that I used to be a music teacher when I was a little bit younger, just out of university, at BZB School. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to welcome the kids and the teachers. This is the Senate. My name is Senator Crystal Asige, and I am a nominated senator from Mombasa County. On behalf of myself, the county Senator Mohamed Faki, and all other members of the Senate, I wish you a fruitful stay, a fruitful visit, and I'll be very happy to have the majority leader come with me outside to greet you just after this, so that we can show you the traditions that are always upheld, whether you're a primary school or not, or secondary. Mr. Speaker, BZB students will absolutely be in the Senate, just as I have done ahead of them. So welcome to them, and see you just in a minute together with Aaron Cheriot, Majority Leader. Thank you.
Next order.
Order number 8, motion, referral of statutory instruments and papers for tabling during recess.
Senator Muma.
Mr. Speaker, I beg to move the motion that the Senate resolves that during the long recess of the 4th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act number 3 of 2013, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. Honorable Speaker, I'm moving this motion on behalf of the Rules and Procedures Committee, and the context of this is that, as we are aware, Section 48(1) of the Public Audit Act, Cap 412B, states that within 6 months after the end of each financial year, the Auditor General shall audit the report in respect of that financial year on the accounts specified in Article 229 of the Constitution. Notably, Article 229(8) of the Constitution envisages the consideration of audit reports to be finalized by the Senate within 3 months of receiving the report. This is by 30th March in the year. Now, the effect of this provision for our committees, CPAC and CPIC, is that before 30th March in each year, they ought to have considered and tabled the respective Auditor General's reports in the Senate so that on or before the date, the Senate will have adopted these reports. Honorable Speaker, the effect of this provision is that papers or reports received when the Senate is on recess cannot be transmitted to the relevant committees to be processed in time as is expected by the constitutional provision. This matter was discussed in liaison committee, and the liaison committee submitted a proposal for the amendment of the standing orders to have a provision that would facilitate the effect of the motion that I have just moved. Honorable Speaker, Rules and Procedures Committee have suggested that that amendment be held until the end of this session, but we utilize the motion that I have just submitted because that motion facilitates exactly what the proposed amendment is to have. So it is in this context that I'm tabling this motion, and I would like to ask Senator Cherargei to second the motion. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, as I second, I ask for your protection so that I second ably. Mr. Speaker, this is just a straightforward matter, and I want to thank the committee on Mr. Speaker, can you give in case she has to threaten me? Can you threaten a dry Kalenjin man?
Senator Eddy. May the Senator Fernando be heard in total silence.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you. You cannot threaten a Kalenjin dry man. Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is very simple. It's a straightforward matter in these rules and procedure, and I want to thank the committee. I think, Mr. Speaker, for us who sit in Senate Public Accounts Committee and Public Investment Committee, Mr. Speaker, this matter, after the consideration, you remember the case, the civil case 232 of 2017 on Alcoholic Beverages Association of Kenya, ruling Article 229 of the Constitution of Kenya on consideration of reports by the Office of the Auditor General, Mr. Speaker, sir, and the Public Audit Act, Section 47 and Section 48, is crystal clear that there are timelines that after the reports have been taken to Parliament, it should be forthwith be considered. Mr. Speaker, the upshot of this motion is very simple. As you are aware, Mr. Speaker, God willing, we might end up for an early recess, or the session might come to an end, this session that we are talking about, Mr. Speaker. And during this session we might be on a session, but you know, Kenyans should understand politicians are never on recess, because when we are not on plenary, we are on the ground, Mr. Speaker. So during that time when the House on plenary is on recess, and mostly because of the committees, Mr. Speaker, it will be hard. Either there are only two options, Mr. Speaker, that you might have, or the House has, is to convince the majority leader and 15 senators to reconvene for the reports to be tabled. Mr. Speaker, you are aware the OAG reports will come to the Parliament on 31st December 2025. Yet the courts say within 3 months, those reports should have been considered. So it means by 30th March of 2026, the audit reports of the Office of the Auditor General, Mr. Speaker, should and must have been considered and the reports adopted by the House. Mr. Speaker, learning after that matter came out, you remember the pack and pick under the guidance of your secretariat and support of your office, we had to take written responses in most of the entities, both in the county assemblies and in the county executive. We were able to table, Mr. Speaker, written responses. But we found it is not fair, because the view under Article 229 is Parliament should consider. So what is the part of consideration? We must sit, listen to the management response. Mr. Speaker, am I supposed to say point of order? Senator, just passed here. Mr. Speaker.
You are out of order for breaching Standing Order 117. You are not supposed to come in between the chair and the senator speaking. So I will give you a caution for the day. I will not ask you to leave. You may go to...
No, Mr. Speaker, it just... My apologies. But can you apologize for righting the wrong? Mr. Speaker, what I'm saying is simple. That is why, Mr. Speaker, these reports we must consider by 30th. And Mr. Speaker, the upshot of what Senator Muma has moved is when the reports are tabled, are brought to the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, you will have the power to mark those reports to committees of public accounts and pick. Mr. Speaker, the upshot of this motion is not only solely on pick and pack or public accounts and public investment committee. It also, Mr. Speaker, there could be a matter of urgency in the country that needs you to just mark in your office, Mr. Speaker. And that is the upshot of this decision. So I want colleagues to understand it is not only based on public accounts or public investment, it is based on the committees, whereas the Speaker, you can sit and mark to individual committees. For example, God forbid, if there is an emergency that health committee should sit, you can just mark, Mr. Speaker, within the long recess that we might have in the month of December, in the month of January. So the Public Investment Committee and Public Accounts Committee, and I'm happy the chairperson of Public Investment Committee, the Deputy Party Leader of ODM, Senator Outsource, is in the House, is very important because it will allow the committee sufficient time, such that by early January of 2026, the committees can reconvene. And Mr. Speaker, I think after the New Year, and after the Christmas holiday, you will have the power to mark to both committees and also any other committee, Mr. Speaker, that will think that they must consider the report before coming to the House, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, this is more of a procedural motion that should be supported by committee, both the House, because I don't think there is much to look into it, Mr. Speaker, but to request the House that we consider this report, this motion, Mr. Speaker, as I second, so that our committees can become efficient, Mr. Speaker. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the recommendations that we make as a committee is very crucial. I have had colleagues here talking about accountability in the health sector. Mr. Speaker, I want to appeal to Kenyans. There are so many recommendations that we make as a House. Mr. Speaker, let me pick two generic directions. We have said in Council of Governors, and I know you sat in that committee, we have talked about SOCAT, the one for table of clerks. We have talked about County Assemblies Forum. Now there is an AMCA called Association of Members of County Assemblies. Though both all of them, Mr. Speaker, are not anchored in law. Mr. Speaker, let me give this House another example. When we made resolution, Mr. Speaker, that we should pay 12,000 ex-councillors, and the resolution was passed by the Senate, the resolution was passed by the National Assembly. We took that resolution to the Minister of Treasury, C.S. Mbadi, and told him to pay councillors. He asked us a simple question: where is the legal bargain? So in the recommendations that we have made as a public accounts committee, we have just said there is no money, 5 million, that we remitted to COG, to SOCAT, to CAF, and any other, including AMCA, without the legal framework. So we have made a generic recommendation that it is illegal. Mr. Speaker, we have made referrals on many occasions to EACC. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans should understand that the committees of parliament, unless we amend the constitution, that we only make recommendations to entities, to state officers, more so EACC, Mr. I remember, for example, let me use Nandi, because that's where I come from. When the issue of cement and ECD scandal arose, the Public Accounts Committee sat and made recommendation that EACC...
Senator Fernandez, relevance. Do you know the contents of the motion you are seconding?
Yeah, I know. I'm just finding out so that members can understand. I'm localizing the matter. Mr. Speaker, because you have to appreciate when the argument was heated, there was a lot of misleading in the House. Mr. Speaker, I'm just finishing by saying, you know, Kenyans should understand what we are discussing. We are saying committee should get ample time to make appropriate recommendations. And I'm just, Mr. Speaker, under your guidance and your Solomonic wisdom, is that Parliament makes only recommendation. I am aware, even in non-revenue water, the committee of PIC directed that non-revenue water, all meters must be digitized, for example, in Nandi County. Those are recommendations so that Kenyans understand the work of Parliament. Because, Mr. Speaker, I know you are aware, when some of us, the Senator of Migori was telling us he was in some villages, people will ask him, you are telling us that money has been stolen. So what? Because we cannot arrest, we cannot prosecute, we only recommend. And that is what we want to give the power to these committees, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, with those many comments, Mr. Speaker, I beg to second and ask colleagues, let us fast track, let us pass and get back to work. They say we can chew as we scale the stairs. I'm happy my teacher is looking at me lovingly today in the afternoon, Mr. Speaker. And the next governor, make sure you give him the certificate.
The majority and minority leaders, kindly take your seats. Kindly. So I will now propose the question that the Senate resolves that during the long recess of the 4th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instruments Act number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. Now, honorable senators, this is rather procedural, although the floor is open for debate. With your concurrence, I may proceed to put the question. I will therefore proceed to put the question. We need to establish the quorum. Now, honorable senators, I will now move to put the question. Senator Fernandi, kindly take a seat. That the Senate resolves that during the long recess of the 4th session of the 13th Parliament, where any statutory instrument or paper is transmitted for tabling in the Senate, and the Speaker determines that the statutory instrument or paper is of priority, the Speaker shall forthwith refer the statutory instrument or paper to the relevant committee for consideration, and the statutory instrument or paper shall be deemed to have been tabled before the Senate, and the Speaker shall report the statutory instrument or paper to the Senate and cause the statutory instrument to be tabled in the Senate in accordance with the provisions of Section 11 of the Statutory Instrument Act, number 3 of 2023, and the paper to be tabled before the Senate at its next sitting. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as are of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, motion, report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th July 2024. Resumption of debate interrupted on Thursday, 6th November 2025. Question to be put.
Clerk, do you have the requisite quorum? Honorable Senators, I'll proceed to put the question. That the Senate adopt the report of the Standing Committee on National Cohesion, Equal Opportunity and Regional Integration on the implementation of the Senate resolution on the current state of the nation made on Wednesday, 24th of July, 2024, and laid on the table of the Senate on Tuesday, 3rd of June, 2025. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Honorable Senators, I'm going to rearrange the order paper. We're going to defer order number 10, 11, 12, 13, which was supposed to be division. We don't have the numbers. And we're going to defer order number 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, Committee of the Whole. And we'll go to order number 20. Clerk.
Order number 20, motion, installation of CCTV cameras in all police stations, cells and police reporting desks. Resumption of debate interrupted on Thursday, 6th November 2025.
Senator Cherargei, you are on the floor of the House before the interruption. And desk, give him 5 minutes.
Mr. Speaker, why is the House excited? And I have yet to begin. Mr. Speaker, I was continuing to second before we adjourned the House last time, and I want to say this: the intent of this motion is to ensure all police stations have CCTV cameras. I say this proposal is not anti-police. In fact, what we want to do is to ensure police, Mr. Speaker, are transparent and accountable. In Albert Ojwang's case, Mr. Speaker, the reason prosecution and IPOA are able to prosecute that case, Mr. Speaker, is because we were able to get a CCTV footage of Central Police Station. You remember, Mr. Speaker, I saw the report of IMLU, the one that deal with independent medical legal units, IMLU, Mr. Speaker. They gave a report that more than 20 Kenyans have died in police cells, Mr. Speaker. The police cell should be the safe place and safe spaces for all Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. As one of the famous remandee, and most of the time I've been arrested, Mr. Speaker, and I've slept in a number of police stations. in this city and across the country, including Bungoma, Mr. Speaker. When you visit, you will hear Cherargei was here, Mr. Speaker. I can tell you, apart from CCTV cameras in our police station, we must ensure also the police cells are transformed, Mr. Speaker, even with a paint. When you visit police station, Mr. Speaker, you see the deplorable working place, the OB, occurrence book desk. We must digitize, Mr. Speaker, because our police officers need also a good working environment. You can see Parliament. We work in a good working environment, Mr. Speaker. We must ensure. Another proposal, Mr. Speaker, is to put body cameras for the police officers, Mr. Speaker. You remember it will be easy, and that is why I want to ask the police should welcome this proposal, because it will be easy for them to account whenever they arrest, Mr. Speaker. I know there are people, when police go to arrest them, they insult them, they want to beat up the police, they want to attack the police. It is good for police to have body cam, Mr. Speaker. Even, Mr. Speaker, as I speak, the county security team and some police officers, Mr. Speaker, are evicting people in Kimwani area, Tindred sub-county, and burning houses, demolishing, and because of issues of land grabbing in Kimwani area, in Tindred sub-county, Nandi, it would have been easy to take to account. Because if those police officers had wearing a body camera and they are doing demolitions and whatever they are doing which is illegal, it would be easy for independent policing oversight authority to take them to account, even whenever they arrest, Mr. Speaker. Another issue, Mr. Speaker, we must put even in police, Mr. Speaker, the body cam. One is the dashboard cameras for the vehicles of the police, so that it is easy to track the police, Mr. Speaker. We have had cases where there is allegations that somebody is arrested and is taken around the city without being taken to any police station. If we had the dash cameras of those, it will be able to account. Mr. Speaker, a number of police officers either carry dead bodies, carry exhibits, Mr. Speaker. We need that, Mr. Speaker. Even carry changa, Mr. Speaker. And I want to, whenever people are arrested in changa, the exhibits are taken. We need CCTV cameras in police station, because I'm told some of the people, allegedly, including some police officers, also drink the changa. And by the time the matter goes to court, the exhibit has been eaten, Mr. Speaker. Even when they arrested, there was a case in Wasingishu where a kettle was taken to police station, Naiberi, and the police officers ended up slaughtering the exhibit, which could have been used in successfully prosecuting the matter. So the CCTV camera is to protect people like Albert Ojwang, Simon Warui, and Kenyan Suwan, and also protect the exhibit, so that, Mr. Speaker, when you are arrested, the exhibit is ensured it is in good place, is well maintained, and when it is taken to the courts of law, Mr. Speaker. So this motion, colleagues, is essentially to ensure accountability and transparency. We want to protect the police, we want to protect the suspects, so that they are not, Mr. Speaker. We want to make the police station, Mr. Speaker, the safest place. We don't want, when Kenyans are arrested, we don't want people to get worried, Mr. Speaker. We don't want people to be in anguish. We don't want their parents and fathers and sisters to be worried. We want that CCTV footage. And I hope, Mr. Speaker, when you look at Cap 8 laws of Kenya on evidence law, one of the admissibility is the issue, and my law lecturer, Professor Tom Ogenda, is in the House, will tell you under the Evidence Act, part of admissibility principles is to include the issues of CCTV footages, which are certified by the examiner, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, my time is spent, and I want to listen to the wisdom or lack of wisdom of colleagues. I would be able to say I second, and thank you for listening to me. I second this motion, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question. Aware that Article 51 provides that a person who is detained, held in custody, or imprisoned under the law retains all the rights and fundamental freedoms in the Bill of Rights, except to the extent that any particular right or a fundamental freedom is clearly incompatible with the fact that the person is detained, held in custody, or imprisoned. Further aware that the National Task Force on Improvement of the Terms and Conditions of Service and other reforms for members of the National Police Service and Kenya Prison Service recommended adequate government funding for the National Police Service to modernize its facilities, equipment and gear, and enhance its logistical and technological capabilities for National Police Service officers in order to enable the service discharge its mandate efficiently and effectively. Cognizant that the Bill of Rights provides for protection of human rights, prevention of abuse, and upholding of the rule of law within the detention facilities and police stations, concerned that there has been increasing reports of human rights violations, abuse, unexplained injuries and deaths in the custody, as well as security breaches and escapes from police cells across the country. Further concerned that despite the recommendations by the Justice Maraga Task Force, little or no effects have been made to ensure modernization of police cells by installation of closed-circuit television, cameras, and police reporting desks, thereby affecting public trust and accountability on what happens to persons in the police custody. Now, therefore, the Senate resolves that the national government, through the Ministry of Interior and National Administration, 1, installs functional and tamper-proof CCTV cameras in all police stations, cells, and police reporting desks across the country. 2, ensures that all CCTV systems are monitored in real time and that the footage is securely stored and made accessible during investigations, judicial processes. And 3, provides the necessary resources, technical support, and training to law enforcement officers for the effective operation and maintenance of CCTV systems and continuous digitization of occurrence book platforms. Honorable Senators, we are now open for debate. I call upon Senator Wambua Enoch.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I wonder what is out of order. If Cherage wants to, if Senator Eddie wants to speak before me, he can speak. There's no problem. I have no problem picking my number and joining the queue. But Mr. Speaker, because you have given me the opportunity, I want to, first of all, thank Senator Karen Nyamu for bringing this motion. It's a very, very important motion. The Speaker, I thank her because...
Senator Wambua, there is a point of order. Senator Umtia Mtata, what is your point of order?
My point of order is about the content of the motion. It is pegged on the Maraga report, which the High Court declared null and void. So I don't know if the House is in order debating this particular motion, because I see a lot of references to the Maraga report on the task force on the National Police Service reforms. I'm aware that sometimes in April this year, the High Court, Justice Mugambi, declared that particular report to be unconstitutional, null and void. So I don't know if it's in order for this House to be using it as a reference material. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sorry, Senator Wambua.
Senator Cherargei, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, I want to refer you to the decision of your Speaker Emeritus, Justin Biden Muturi, in the last session, and we rule, and I think Senator Wambua was here, that no arm of government can injunct the other. That is very clear. And there is principle of separation of powers, Mr. Speaker, that what judiciary, what executive, and what parliament is doing are interdependent. So in the principle of separation of powers, the fact that a court decision has been made it does not bind us or injure from performing our duty. Because if you allow to favor what Senator Okoyiti Omutata is doing, this parliament will be injuncted from morning to evening and will not do our job. Mr. Speaker, the reading, as I conclude, the Standing Order 101 and Standing Order 103 on matters of sub judice or secret. The procedure of the standing orders, Mr. Speaker, is very clear. Needs some calm. Mr. Speaker, Standing Order 103, 105, and 101 on contents of speech and principles of separation of power. What I'm saying in an upshot is that what we are discussing as a House is within our work, is to law make. The work of the judiciary is to interpret. So let's listen to the wisdom of the incoming governor of Kitui. The matters of litigation we can leave to Senator Okiya Omtata, and then we proceed. We make a resolution as the House as an independent arm of government based on the principles of separation of powers. It is as simple as that. I yield, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator Cherargei and Senator Omtata. I wish Professor Ojenda, Senior Counsel, was paying attention to this point of order which was raised by Omtata, and he would have given his line of thought. But I think, Senator Omtata, what I would probably rule is that during your submission, when you're contributing to this motion, you can raise that matter and make your point to the senators, and probably the mover of this motion might be convinced to amend the motion. So I would probably ask you to preserve your thoughts at this point in time and make your submissions during the time you're making a debate. Senator Enoch Omboa, you can proceed.
No interruption. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the point of order, you have ruled on it. I would have been of the view that this motion does not seek to debate. What is before us is not the report of the Maraga team, but the mover of the motion has just made reference to a recommendation by that team, and the matter that we are discussing is a matter of great national importance. But that be as it may, Senator Okiya Omtata will have to decide what to do when his time comes, if that time comes. The Speaker, I stand here to support that motion. For the reason that, Mr. Speaker, police cells and police stations are actually ideally supposed to be the safest spaces for the Kenyan citizenry. And that whatever happens there, then it's important that it's put on record. And if then there is a breach of the law within the precincts of police stations and police cells, that information should be captured and stored. And in fact, I was going to be requesting the mover of the motion to try and maybe even make an amendment and prescribe the uptime for the CCTV cameras. So you don't just say that they are installed and they are functional, because they could be installed and they function 1 hour in a day and the rest of the time they are not functional. Though you prescribe the uptime, so that maybe 95% of the time they should, as a minimum, they should be functioning, so that the incidents that have happened in police cells, including the killing of young Ojwang, today perhaps if those CCTV cameras were working, we would be having a different conversation as a country. Mr. Speaker, I will request that the second of the motion, Senator Cherargei, now pays key attention to the things that I'm going to be saying next. He said that he wanted to listen to wisdom. And here is wisdom. Mr. Speaker, accountability, because the installation of CCTV cameras aids in promoting the pursuit of justice and accountability. Mr. Speaker, I have heard Senator Cherargei say that he needs those cameras to be installed so that we may know the people that are messing up with the justice system in this country. Mr. Speaker, the day before yesterday, I heard Senator Cherargei speak from the other side of his mouth about the pursuit of justice for Kenyan people, especially the civil society group. And I heard Senator Cherargei, Mr. Speaker, inciting the President of the Republic of Uganda and the President of the Republic of Tanzania, and telling them that when Kenyan civil society cross over to pursue justice in the region, Mr. Speaker,
Senator,
Mr. Speaker, we agree that we are not going to be
Senator Enoch Wambua, there's a point of order. What's your point of order?
What is out of order now?
Senator Cherargei.
Mr. Speaker, I will deal with these howlers, Mr. Speaker, shortly. I will deal with these howlers shortly. Mr. Speaker, understanding order.
Senator Cherargei.
Understanding order 101.
Senator Cherargei, before you proceed, withdraw the word howlers. Withdraw the word howlers in this house.
I said I will disapprove my critics shortly, Mr. Speaker.
Yes, but
Mr. Speaker,
withdraw the word howlers.
Of course, Mr. Speaker, to howl is just to lift. Mr. Speaker, let me withdraw so that we have a civil discourse.
Proceed.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, understanding order 101, and you know Article 123, there is creation of what we call standing orders and establishment. Article 123 of the Constitution. This standing orders is a creation of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, standing order 101, and allow me to read. Standing order 101, part 4. No senator shall impute improper motive to any other senator or to a member of the National Assembly except upon a specific substantive motion, of which at least 3 days notice has been given, calling in question the conduct of that senator or the member of the Assembly. Is it in order for Deputy Minority Leader and a close ally of Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka to impute improper motive without a substantive motion? Mr. Speaker, he should withdraw and apologize, Mr. Speaker, unless there is a substantive motion. The day substantive motion against Senator Cherargei will come here, I will defend myself, both on air and sea and everything that I have, Mr. Speaker. Is it in order? Can he withdraw and apologize, Mr. Speaker? Please. You cannot threaten a dry Kalenjin man, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Wambua.
Senator Cherargei, relax. Relax, Senator Cherargei. We listen to you when you are talking. You are calm. Mr. Speaker, two things. One, I have not even landed. I have not even said anything. I just mentioned. The Speaker, the same standing orders, the Speaker, prohibit Senator Cherargei and myself from anticipating debate. I have not said anything. What is he complaining about? Why are you scared? What are you scared of? Mr. Speaker, secondly, Mr. Speaker, I have not brought into dispute the character of Senator of Nandi. I've just made reference to statements that he made, statements that are in public domain. Statements, Mr. Speaker, that are being reacted to by his own church. Mr. Speaker, it has nothing to do with me. Mr. Speaker, can you just allow me to land? Mr. Speaker, can I just land? Because I have not...
Senator Cherargei, Senator Enoch Wambua has stated on the floor of the House that he has not completed his statement. Can we allow him to go through the same train of thoughts to complete his statements about you? Then we will know what action to take against him. Proceed, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Senator Cherargei is my gymmate. We go to the gym together. And he pretends all the time, he tells me I'm a warrior, I'm a warrior. Now I'm wondering, why is he troubling? I have not even said anything. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, the warriors in this house must act and behave like warriors. Yes. And face the consequences of their decisions and their utterances head on. Mr. Speaker, I subscribe to the Christian faith, and that is not in dispute. So when I see fellow pastors and preachers and bishops raising concerns over statements made by a member of this house, where I sit, Mr. Speaker, it must prick my conscience. And I must ask ourselves, Mr. Speaker, if we are defenders of the rights of the people of Kenya, if we are saying that we want our police cells to be safe spaces, installed with CCTV cameras, why are we unleashing terror on people who are pursuing justice for our friends, our brothers, our sisters across the borders? Mr. Speaker, that's exactly what I'm saying. And what I'm saying, Mr. Speaker, is, and I was asking myself last night, Mr. Speaker, what shall the Speaker do? A member of his house, the Agas House, has called upon presidents of neighboring countries to oppress the people that we are supposed to be representing in this house. What is the Speaker supposed to deal? How is the Speaker supposed to deal with that member of the house? Mr. Speaker, what are you going to do with that member of the house? Because, Mr. Speaker, truth be told, Mr. Speaker, when those news came out,
Senator,
they never talked about the Senator of Nandi.
Senator Enoch, you are continuously challenging the Speaker to take action on an individual he doesn't know about. Are you able to mention the individual so that the Speaker can know what actions to take?
Mr. Speaker, I heard bishops of the Anglican, the Kenya Assemblies of God, making reference to the Senator of Nandi and saying that the pulpit was desecrated. The Senator of Nandi should never have used the pulpit to say the things that he said. Those are not my words, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, those are the words of the bishops of the Kenya Assemblies of God. Mr. Speaker, what I'm trying to say here is this. We must walk the talk. As leaders in this country, Mr. Speaker, if we are serious about protecting the rights of the people that we represent, we must do it at home and abroad. If you are serious, Mr. Speaker, about pursuing justice for the Kenyan people, then that justice must be pursued both for the people that speak the language that we speak and the people that speak a different language. People who take the same position that we take and people who take different positions. Mr. Speaker, at an appropriate time, maybe this House, Mr. Speaker, we want to do exactly what Senator Cherargei is challenging us to do. To bring a substantive motion and discuss the character of our colleague. Perhaps, Mr. Speaker, that is what we should do. Because, Mr. Speaker, what has happened is that this House, in its entirety, has been put into shame. Mr. Speaker, with those very few remarks and very kind words to my Senator Cherargei, Mr. Speaker, I support the motion and ask Mr. Speaker that we all adhere to the principle, Mr. Speaker, of separation of power. Nobody should tell us that we cannot discuss this matter because reference had been made to the Maraga committee. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Senator Edwin Sifuna.
You know, Honorable Speaker, I had the seconder of this motion, the Honorable Senator for Nandi, Samson Cherargei Kiprotich, speaking about the death of Albert Ojwang in the cells at Central Police Station, as if he was not aware that when that happened, in fact, in that specific police station, there were CCTV cameras installed in that particular station. But what we have been told by IPOA is that somebody was bold enough to disable or to mess with the footage that would have captured the moment at which we lost our brother, Albert Ojwang. Yes. And Mr. Speaker, this is the reason why context of the behavior of police officers, the context of the behavior of public officers is extremely critical. We, as Kenyans, when we passed this constitution, Honorable Speaker, we were in a certain frame of mind. Mr. Speaker, if you want to know the frame of mind that Kenyans were in, you have to go to the preamble of the Constitution. And Honorable Speaker, because I like to teach, you will explain what the context of the Constitution is when we were passing it. If you look at the preamble, Honorable Speaker, Kenyan people committed to nurturing and protecting the well-being of the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. Those of us who went to proper law schools know that when names or words are used in a certain order, it is not a fluke. There is a reason why it starts with the individual, the family, communities, and the nation. Honorable Speaker, we have another basic principle, the frame of mind that Kenyans were in when we were giving ourselves this constitution, because they say it's a very progressive document, but it required a very specific kind of government to be able to ensure that it is implemented. And that government is specified under the preamble that it has to be a government based on the essential values of human rights, equality, freedom, democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. Again, Honorable Speaker, when phrases are used one after the other, it is important for you to pay attention to the order in which they are used. Here, we started with human rights. It was deliberate, Honorable Speaker. Mr. Speaker, because of the history of this country, with police brutality, abductions, detention without trial, torture, kidnappings, we went ahead and provided, Honorable Speaker, that there are four specific rights that cannot under any circumstances, Honorable Speaker, be derogated from. And those rights are enumerated at Article 25, I think. Let me just read it, Honorable Speaker. Article 25, which is the only article that talks about fundamental rights and freedoms that may not be limited. So it doesn't matter the circumstances. You cannot derogate from these rights. And they are, number one, freedom from torture and cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Freedom from torture, cruel, inhuman, or degrading treatment or punishment. Number two, Honorable Speaker, freedom from slavery or servitude. Number three, the right to a fair trial. And lastly, Honorable Speaker, the right to an order of habeas corpus. The right to an order of habeas corpus for those farmers in the House, like Senator Methu, is an order for the production of somebody who is in the custody of police officers. Speaker, the culture of impunity that we have created in this country is what gives a police officer at Central Police Station the confidence to know that even when he switches off that police camera or the CCTV and commits murder in the cells, the places where we've been told should be the safest places, that culture that gives the people confidence is what we are trying to address as a country. And Honorable Speaker, it shocked me to levels that I cannot even imagine, that a member of this House and a lawyer, for that matter, somebody who claims to be a legal mind, Honorable Speaker, would forget these fundamental provisions of the Constitution and support a situation where Kenyans are being subjected to abduction, subjected to torture, subjected to cruel and dehumanizing punishment. Honorable Speaker, there was a very serious case of some of our activists who went to stand with our brothers in Tanzania. My good friend, the chairperson of Chadema, Tundu Lissu, who has been facing treason charges. My brother John Heche, who was arrested at the border of Tanzania when he was coming to Mon Baba, somebody who has been his friend for many years. When some of our colleagues here, including respected people, tried to go there to stand in solidarity with these great movers, members of the democracy movement, They were subjected to some of the most inhuman things that you will ever have to countenance and go through. I hear people calling themselves Kalenjin warriors on the floor of this house. Some of the things that we heard from Boniface Mwangi, I would want to know why a Kalenjin warrior would wish any of that punishment and mistreatment on any human being, Kalenjin warrior or not. Speaker, it disgusts us. And one of the things that is the most disgusting for me as Senator Sifuna and SG of ODM is that some of these characters have been running around wearing ODM colors, calling themselves founder members of ODM. Mr. Speaker, they say birds of a feather flock together. Those are not our colors. Those are not our people. Those are not our values. The ODM party, Honorable Speaker, is a party that is known for justice. We are the manufacturers. We are the birthers of this constitution. There is no way, Honorable Speaker, we will associate with characters who run around saying people should be subjected to inhuman and degrading treatment.
Senator Sifuna, there's a point of order. There's a point of order. What's your point of order, Cherargei?
Mr. Speaker, I raise understanding on the 101.1. I've heard Senator Sifuna mention a number of names and the judicial conducts like Tundu Lissu, Heche, that come from Tanzania. It's on record. Here, Mr. Speaker, when you read understanding 101.1, it says neither the personal conduct of the president nor the conduct of the speaker or of any judge nor judicial conduct of any other person performing judicial functions nor any other conduct of head of state or government or the representative of Kenya or any friendly country or the conduct of the holder of office whose removal from such is dependent upon decision of the Senate shall be referred adversely except upon a specific substantive motion of which at least 3 days notice has been given. The reading, the upshot, is it in order for Senator Sifuna to refer to other matters? We are aware that Tundu Lissu is undergoing judicial process in Tanzania. It is on record. But is it in order for him to refer to such matters in a friendly neighboring country without a substantive motion, which we don't have a problem? If he brings it, it would be in order. Is it in order, Mr. Speaker? Can he withdraw and confine himself within the standing orders, Mr. Speaker, of Standing Order 120 of the standing orders? You should listen.
Honorable Speaker, I wish the Honorable Cherargei listens to people making submissions on this floor. And if he can't listen, at least exercise his ability to read, even that standing order that he has read. Clearly, Honorable Speaker, although I know the names of the judicial officers who are involved in the cases in Tanzania, I have not mentioned them. Although I know the people who are responsible for torture abduction of Tanzanians and Kenyans in Tanzania, I have not mentioned them. I am speaking about my friends. If you don't have any friends across the border or anywhere away from Nandi County, that's your own problem. I have not mentioned anybody in that authority. Mr. Speaker, therefore, allow me to continue uninterrupted. The point that I was making. Speaker, we need to create a country that resembles that which we wanted when we passed this constitution. And the point that I was making as SG of ODM, still, Honorable Speaker, wearing that color is not what makes you a good person. That color represents something. We know what we stand for. When somebody sees ODM, they know what it means. So just donning a cap, if you don a cap and you're the ones denying people the right of habeas corpus, our founder, our party leader, the late Raila Amolo Odinga, was for 9 years without trial. His family suffered. His kids missed him, his wife. They were tortured and, even emotionally. So when you wear that color, you should know what it represents. You don't just go there, put it on, then you say, oh, I'm a founder member, and start shouting tuta. That's not who we are. Honorable Speaker, the constitution of ODM is molded so closely to the constitution of this country because we are a rights party. So, Speaker, let me tell you this. We want a country where human rights, human dignity is respected. The reports that have been referenced here, including reports from IMLU, they tell us that almost 20 young people have died in police custody, all in prison cells or remand facilities between January and now. Speaker, that is not a statistics that we have made up. It is a serious issue. Almost 60 people have died because of extrajudicial killings. And these proposals are good, Honorable Speaker, because we have seen even in the streets sometimes when young people are trying to capture the police breaking the law, They themselves who are trying to record what is going on are subjected to violence. So let it be that we get this footage from our own equipment that has been installed by the taxpayer. But if we do not develop a culture of respect for the rule of law as stated in the preamble of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker, there's nothing we are doing. So, Speaker, we have to have a conversations. We have spoken here during the motion on the State of the Nation about even reviewing of police standing orders and their operational, what are they called? Yes, there's SOPs, standard operating procedures. Honorable Speaker, because again, I will not tire to remind the country that I am the author of the MOU signed between Raila Odinga and President Ruto. Honorable Speaker, the review of the police standing orders, because I made sure that because I'm a senator, I incorporated the resolutions of this House during the debate on the State of the Nation in that MOU. I had some person running around who was not even in the room when the MOU was being prepared, telling us that it is at 50% implementation. He doesn't know. He hasn't read it, I can confirm, because I know him, he's my friend. We will tell you when that thing has been implemented, because it is not something to hide. It is like this debate we were having in the afternoon. Whether SHA is working or not is not something somebody will tell you. You will hear from the people on the ground. When you go there, Honorable Speaker, in Garissa, you will say, yes, mambo ya harambe hapa imeisha. Honorable Speaker, when that MOU is implemented, nobody will need to shout from the rooftop about its implementation. We will see compensation of the victims of police brutality. They will tell you the money is in their accounts. They will tell you that the SOPs, the standard operating procedures of the police were brought to this House. They have been amended, and now we have a people-friendly police force or service. Honorable Speaker, they will tell you that devolution is working. Those are the things that we incorporated in that. And we want to urge Kenyans, Honorable Speaker, not to fall into this trap of encouraging a clawback of all the gains we've had. Honorable Speaker, the things that are happening in our neighboring countries, they used to happen here. They used to happen here. You remember the fight we had about constitution or reconstitution of the IEBC. You hear the stories from our neighbors where they are still in the era where the president just determines who's running the election. You know, when we hear those things, Honorable Speaker, we are transported back to 1992, over 30 years ago. When you hear somebody say, you can arrest these people, and he uses words like Finya Wao, you sound like a Kanu youth winger from 1991. You're giving me nightmares, Honorable Speaker. I remember at the advent of multi-party, we were told, Honorable Speaker, if you flash the two-finger salute, they will cut one so that it remains the one that was representing Kanu. That is the same language we are hearing from people in this House, and they call themselves founder members of ODM. Shindwe kabisa. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Consolata Nobwire.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. My name is Consolata Nabwire Wakwabubi. I would like to contribute towards this motion about installing CCTV cameras in police stations and police cells and police desks. This one is a very essential tool to enhance safety and also deter criminal activities, as well as supporting evidence-based investigations. In the recent past, the installation of CCTVs, even in our homes, was deemed to be a luxury, but it is no longer a luxury, and especially to enhance safety and security in some of our public institutions, there is need for us to enhance and embrace surveillance infrastructure. And for this case in point, I want to be very particular to the police stations, police cells, the police desks, and even at a later point, maybe I would like to request the mover to put something else regarding the high-risk areas that can also be used to enhance community policing as a safety measure. you look at these CCTVs and we find out that they are both for protection of both the law enforcement officers as well as the public, because sometimes some evidence is hidden or is deleted, and therefore we cannot be able to get that ample evidence to move a case or maybe to interrogate a case. There are so many things that happen in the police cells. For example, we have custodial deaths, or we have alleged brutality, and we even have GBV cases that are meted upon some of the victims in the police cells, in the police stations, and even in the police, at the police desks. So it will be ideal for us to advocate for this CCTV coverage, even in rural areas that are close to police stations or police cells. It is also important for us to note that there is need to have a clear maintenance or monitoring frameworks towards these CCTVs. Let's have a clear framework spelling out who are to monitor the cameras, how data is stored, and maybe the timelines for maintaining and repairing faulty equipment of some of these CCTV cameras. So let's also have strong data protection guidelines to safeguard any data that we have. I want to stop there and conclude by saying that I support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Osotsi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to start by congratulating the owner of this motion, Senator Nyamu. I think this is a very progressive motion to have been brought by a specially elected member in the name of Senator Nyamu. And Mr. Speaker, you are aware that the government, through the CS Interior, Murkomen, also made a public statement that we would like all police stations to have CCTV cameras for the purpose of monitoring what happens in those police stations. Mr. Speaker, this debate around having CCTV in all our police stations was ignited by the torture that has been happening in our police station, with particular focus on Mr. Ojwang, who is alleged to have been victimized, tortured in the police cells. So this is going to be a very important motion, if passed by this House, to ensure that we completely eliminate what we call custodial torture, that torturing of prisoners in police cells, in police station. So I want to support it. But Mr. Speaker, just echoing my colleagues who have raised concern about the matter of torture in this country and even externally. Mr. Speaker, the issue of torture of Kenyans in Tanzania and Uganda, it is not an issue that we can laugh about, especially if we are leaders in this country. It is not an issue that we can celebrate. It is not an issue that we can try and play politics with. So this weekend, we were very disappointed that one of us, who happens to be my friend, and who brings very good motion to this House, that he is celebrating torture, Mr. Speaker, by encouraging the Ugandan president, who we know how he came to power, Mr. Speaker, by encouraging Tanzanian president, who has even been accused by other leaders in Africa. Other leaders in Africa
Senator Cherargei, what's your point of order?
I stand Article 123. These standing orders is a creation of the Constitution. I want to appeal that colleagues should read and internalize. Standing Order 101, Part 1, talks about the conduct. When you hear my brother, Senator Otsotsi, who I hope he will be the governor of Iga, alluding to how Museveni rose to power, on how Samia Suluhu is running Tanzania, Mr. Speaker, is discussing the conduct of the president of a friendly nation, which is contravening our own standing orders. You cannot call out somebody for the wrong, and then you are committing the wrong yourself. Mr. Speaker, can you withdraw, or within 3 days, submit to your office a substantive motion to discuss the conduct of President Museveni or President Samia Suluhu, or withdraw and apologize to the House for contravening our own standing order, specifically standing order 101 Part 1, Mr. Speaker? Is it in order for, and you know, it is sad, Mr. Speaker, that the person making statement is the deputy party leader of ODM.
Senator, what's your point of order, Senator Sifuna?
Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Standing Order 121, it is actually disorderly conduct for people to stand up all the time during debate to raise false points of order. Please encourage Senator Cherargei to read the whole provision that he's referring to. It talks about mentioning someone adversely. Now, adversely means in bad light. I don't know how many euphemisms. I wish I spoke his local dialect. I translate for him. The senator for Viga has not mentioned anybody adversely. He has just said, if you consider the manner in which they rose to power. What is adverse with that? What is adverse with that? And they have not mentioned anybody's name. Can Senator Cherargei allow debate to flow instead of raising these frivolous points of order? And Mr. Speaker, one final request. I think as a colloquium of speakers, we must now determine how it is possible that there's only one person who knows when people are out of order. That the entire afternoon, it is just Sifuna saying point of order and being granted. Maybe there should be a limit to the number of times that you can rise on points of order. You are not the only senator in this house. We have 67 of us. How is it that only one person can see when people are out of order?
Mr. Speaker, I think I want to agree with
Senator Otsotsi, having listened to the points of orders, and for the first time, Senator Sifuna would want to disagree with you, because Senator Otsotsi did mention the heads of state of Uganda and the heads of state of he said, or he imputed in the manner in which they were sworn into office. So, Senator Otsotsi, I would ask you to withdraw that and proceed to make your submissions.
Mr. Speaker, just a correction on the manner in which he was sworn into office.
In the manner in which they came into power.
I said, in my own words, I said, if you consider the manner in which he came to power, if you consider, Mr. Speaker, there is nothing adverse about this. There is nothing adverse about this. It is a fact that President Museveni came to power through a military takeover. It is a fact.
And Senator and President of Tanzania?
I never said more about the Tanzanian president.
But you mentioned this, the head of Tanzania.
But Mr. Speaker,
in the same sentence that you made reference to Uganda, you made reference to Tanzania as well.
Mr.
Majority
Speaker.
Leader, what's your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, Senator Otsotsi is making his case worse. Because that's not the only way you get to power in Uganda. He needs to know that subsequently, after that event which he refers to in 1986, the year I was born, the president of Uganda has gone ahead to win 7 other elections. Mr. Speaker, how can 8 instances where you become president, one particular incident, the first one, becomes your only reference point. I mean, to the best of my knowledge, Mr. Speaker, I feel that Senator Osotsi may not initially have made an adverse comment, but as he continues now to perpetuate his point, he's actually now treading towards that adverse mentioning.
What's your point of order, Senator Eddy? Give him the mic.
Mr. Speaker, do I go and become minority?
Use that one. There's a next mic up next to you. Here, Sifuna inafanya. Wacha nione dispatch. Basi useme kitu ya maana kwa dispatch.
Mr. Speaker, I still want to insist that Senator Cherargei is raising on frivolous point of order, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm on a point of order. This again is still frivolous, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if you look at the standing order for which my friend Senator Osotsi is being accused of, 101, the word is that standing order does not prohibit you from mentioning any name. It prohibits you from imputing improper motive or mentioning a name adversely. Mentioning a name is not a bad thing. And Mr. Speaker, if you see what the majority has just talked about, he is considering the circumstances. And that is what Senator Osotsi invited us to think. And if you consider, the English word, if you consider, then you end up mentioning the name. I don't see what the problem is with that, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I think that you should rule out Senator Cherargei out of order, not Senator Osotsi, because he's not mentioning these names adversely. He's giving you English word if theory that we used in mathematics classes, Mr. Speaker. He has not implied any improper motive on these individuals. In any case, the majority leader would be out of order for considering those circumstances, Mr. Speaker. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order, Senator Cherargei?
Mr. Speaker, we need...
Senator Sifuna, there is no limitation over how many times you can stand on a point of order. So allow the senator his right.
Mr. Speaker, if my memory serves me right, you have made a ruling towards the matter that I raised on standing 101. Would it be in order, because it looks like we are discussing your ruling, which is an add-off, would it be in order for me to invite you to standing order 122, gross disorderly conduct? A senator commits an act of gross disorderly conduct if the senator defies a ruling or a direction of the speaker or the chairperson of committee. Would it be order because the senator of Vihiga has refused to follow your ruling and obey? Is it in order to invite that he should be thrown out for the rest of the sitting, Mr. Speaker?
Senator Cherargei, there is no need to guide the speaker or the chair. I am following closely, and Senator Osotsi has not refused. He is not out of order or disorderly out of order. He was just explaining his submission. Senator Osotsi, please withdraw and then conclude your submission.
Mr. Speaker, you know, I really wanted to have a flowing contribution, but I'm being disrupted every now and then. But I would want to make Senator Cherargei happy, because I know where he's speaking from and where he wants us to go. So for his sake, I will withdraw. But the truth remains that our Kenyans have been tortured in Tanzania and our Kenyans have been tortured in Uganda, Mr. Speaker. That is the truth. That even the person he's trying to protect, he himself said in the public space that Kenyans were tortured in Uganda. So I will withdraw that bit to make him happy so that I can continue with my debate. Mr. Speaker, this issue of custodial torture, it is something that must be dealt with. And one way of dealing with it's having CCTV in public spaces within the police station. But this must be exercised with some caution, Mr. Speaker. I want to support what one member said, that this must be weighed against the data protection rights and principles, so that we don't have a scenario where the rights of prisoners or the rights of even police officers who work there are infringed upon. In some jurisdiction, Mr. Speaker, they put CCTV in police station, but they don't put them in some private places in the police station. For example, I know in the UK, they don't put CCTV in places like bathrooms or even custodial places where prisoners sleep. So I think this motion should be amended so that to say that it should comply with the data protection principles and guidelines, and of course our data protection law. Mr. Speaker, we have also heard that some of these CCTVs have been interfered with. And you heard in the case of Ojwang, where it was alleged that CCTV footage and images has been interfered with. So I think even as we talk about having CCTV in police station, we need also to insist that the law in processing this information must be complied with, particularly the law on computer misuse and cybercrime act, which is very clear that if you infringe on data or you manipulate data, then it becomes a criminal offense. That will be important in this case, so that to protect data that is being captured by those CCTVs. Mr. Speaker, the other bit, if I go back to the Data Protection Act, is that police stations must now be designated as data controllers and processors for the purpose of ensuring that the data they capture is compliant with the Data Protection Act, particularly Section 8 of that Act, which says that data processors and controllers must promote self-regulations among themselves. I don't know how the police stations will be able to do this, given the conditions of our police station and given the conduct of some police officers. So what I'm proposing is that maybe this bill, this motion, can be amended so that it will incorporate in aspects of relevant law, that is the Data Protection Act and the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Act. This is a good motion, but I think maybe we need to consider maybe converting this motion into a legislation so that it is very clear on what offenses can be enforced on people who violate this installation of CCTV. Still on the installation of CCTV, Mr. Speaker, I think the crime rate in Nairobi has gone up, Mr. Speaker, and a few years back, we had a very big project in this city to put CCTV all over. The project was being undertaken by the Kenyan government and Safaricom. I think at some point, this House, particularly the Committee of Security, should consider this matter and tell this House what exactly happened. That the country spent a lot of money, billions of money, and the system is not working. What happened, Mr. Speaker? These are some of the things, Mr. Speaker, that are going to be a major factor, even as we think about having CCTV in all police stations. We are talking about 1,209 police stations. This is huge amount of data, which requires investment in ICT infrastructure, having servers, having good connectivity, and having routine and continuous maintenance of this infrastructure and management of this infrastructure. So this is not a small project. This is a huge project, and I hope this project is not going to be like the Safaricom Kenya government CCTV project for Nairobi, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I support, and I want to encourage that, moving forward, Mr. Speaker, such important debates.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Eddie Okech.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. I'll actually make very quick comments that are very direct. Mr. Speaker, what we have seen in our police cells is disheartening, dehumanizing, and most importantly, still the dignity of a system of justice that starts with police cells or police custody overly, Mr. Speaker, because the mantra is always that anybody who gets to these police cells, if, for instance, you're not been taken to court, Mr. Speaker, you are innocent until proven guilty, Mr. Speaker. And we have seen people who end up enduring some dehumanizing acts in the hands of police or police custody, Mr. Speaker, to the extent that even if they've not been taken to court, Mr. Speaker, they have been dehumanized. And Mr. Speaker, this is not just in the extent of sometimes killing or brutal killing in the hands of the police, but also sometimes it's also in terms of just being mishandled by inmates in those police cells, Mr. Speaker. So this is one of those motions, Mr. Speaker, that I would say straightforward that it is timely, it is something that is needed. In fact, we are behind, Mr. Speaker, if you compare with some advanced countries that have made strides in terms of how police cells are handled, Mr. Speaker, or generally police institutions are handled, Mr. Speaker. We need this as urgent as possible, Mr. Speaker. But, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to put this in the context of what I would call human progress and humanity discourse, Mr. Speaker. What our Constitution chooses to call human rights, Mr. Speaker. I think, Mr. Speaker, there is no freedom when freedom is limited to a country like Kenya, and you have these wonderful laws that we're putting in place. We are thinking about revamping our police cells. We are thinking about accountability by our police systems. We are thinking about responsibility by those who handle people who find themselves in police cells or any authority, Mr. Speaker, when any of us can imagine that this can only happen in Kenya, and when you're without Kenya, you should not be able to enjoy those rights, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I have seen people argue today on the context of the comments that were made by a member of this House in what's happening in the region, and sometimes it's very easy, Mr. Speaker, to say that what does not concern us is what affects our neighbors next door, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell you, Mr. Speaker, that I know of people, and I'm willing to table that report, Mr. Speaker. I know of Kenyans who have suffered in the hands of police in our neighboring countries. That's one. I also know of Kenyans who have been killed and maimed in the hands of police institutions in the region, Mr. Speaker. And when we talk about the concept of a sub-regional or regional cooperation that we think about in the East African region, Mr. Speaker, it is not an issue of a laughing matter, Mr. Speaker. Like what a member of this House went and saying that what is happening in Uganda does not concern us, and what is happening in Tanzania does not concern us, or even the region generally, Mr. Speaker. The truth is, Mr. Speaker, before 1977, Mr. Speaker, this region had desired to have an integrated system that can be able to allow for fulfillment of human dignity. And those dignities, Mr. Speaker, were not only limited to economic merit of individuals. If you read what the corporation that established the treaty that collapsed in 1977, Mr. Speaker, that corporation desire to look at economic merit, political merit, and social merit of our people in the region, Mr. Speaker. So it is in bad faith, Mr. Speaker, if a member of this House can go out there and say that if there is torture in our neighborhoods of individuals who are civil society, Mr. Speaker, or otherwise, any members of our society who have been caught in Tanzania or in Uganda, if there is any torture, then that torture is okay because we are not sub judice to any issues that are happening in those regions, Mr. Speaker. It is very disheartening. Because, Mr. Speaker, if you remember the collapse of the East African community in 1977, Mr. Speaker, what happened was there were three issues that were raised. One was lack of a strong participation of the private sector at that time. And then, Mr. Speaker, there was lack of strong political will. But most importantly, Mr. Speaker, was lack of strong civil society in the corporation's activities, Mr. Speaker. This is what is cited in the 1999 treaty that revamped the treaty that we had in the East African, a journey that started from 1905, Mr. Speaker. If you look at the treaties that we looked at from 1905 in this region for the East African Cooperation, Mr. Speaker, those treaties desired to bring about an integrated system that included the justice system, Mr. Speaker, to the extent that we have seen that members of this society, including one activist and also a leader in this country, Mr. Speaker, that I'm like Honorable Martha Karua, when we lost an election at some point and we could not get justice in the Supreme Court, she desired to go to the East African Court in Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. And if you read the treaty that is established in 1999 that revised this treaty, Mr. Speaker, it allows for free movement of goods, services, capital, and labor in the community, Mr. Speaker. So we are not so separate from Tanzania, we are not so separate from Uganda, so that any injustice in Tanzania, any injustice in Uganda is injustice in Kenya. And any injustice in Kenya is injustice to the people of Uganda and Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. We are not different because we have got a legal entity that guides the three countries, the 1999 treaty, Mr. Speaker. And I feel disheartened, Mr. Speaker, when we are talking in this House, a member of this House who had the audacity, Mr. Speaker, of going out there and praising and encouraging atrocities against citizens of this region, Mr. Speaker, by authorities in Tanzania and by authorities in Uganda, praising that and watering it as something that should be celebrated, Mr. Speaker, is unacceptable, Mr. Speaker. In fact, I want to wish the members of this House the courage, Mr. Speaker, that this should be the first time a member of this House is brought with a substantive motion on the issue of injustice that we have just seen happening in Uganda, Mr. Speaker, and the injustice we saw happening in Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, if a Kenyan has been allowed by Treaty of 1999 to be in Tanzania to do business, and then they are found in a situation where we saw in the elections that have just ended in Tanzania, Mr. Speaker, they are found in a situation whereby there is war, there is fights, there is all these atrocities, and then they die, Mr. Speaker, in Tanzania. Should we celebrate, Mr. Speaker? Must we celebrate something like that, Mr. Speaker? Injustice, the mantra, Mr. Speaker, is always that. The injustice that you face in your country, and you might think that it's made to your country, is an injustice to other countries. Injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere, Mr. Speaker. And it doesn't happen up until when a member of this House finds themselves in Arusha, where you have gone for a committee, Mr. Speaker, and then you are found in the frenzy of this activity that are happening in these other countries without anybody to fight for you. Then you find yourself between life and death situation, Mr. Speaker. Then you will appreciate the essence of the trees that we are building in this country. So we must never accept, Mr. Speaker. In fact, when we pass this kind of motion, Mr. Speaker, we must push that it becomes adopted in the region. For instance, Mr. Speaker, why is the government of Kenya paying for members of Yala money to be able to legislate in Yala if we are not one community, Mr. Speaker? We are paying because we are tied by the hip on legislative principles, on all integration manners in this region, Mr. Speaker, so that some of the things that are good that we are doing in this country, Mr. Speaker, can also go to our neighbors, Mr. Speaker. And I remember, Mr. Speaker, last year, when the country was burning here, Mr. Speaker, we were called the name Jirani, and our children were bastardized and told to be having bad manners. And this discussion, Mr. Speaker, was nowhere other than the Parliament of Tanzania, Mr. Speaker. So was it okay that we were being discussed in terms of character, in terms of values, in a parliament discussion in Tanzania, and we cannot discuss the same problem that we have seen in those regions, Mr. Speaker, that affect us, when our own member in this House, Mr. Speaker, has come to laud them? Mr. Speaker, what the Senator of Nandi said about what is happening in Uganda and the behavior of regime in Uganda and Tanzania is a shame and must be called as such, and as a House, we should not tolerate it, Mr. Speaker. And in the spirit of broad-based, Mr. Speaker, where one of the principles of broad-based may so rest in peace, Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Mr. Speaker, fought for the freedoms that we are enjoying in this country. I doubt in Raila's heart that that freedom was limited to being freedom that can only be enjoyed within Kenya, Mr. Speaker. It is freedom for humanity that must be enjoyed within and without the borders of Kenya. For all human race, Mr. Speaker, for all humanity, Mr. Speaker, in the continent, we must start being one African people. That the pain that is in Mali, the pain that is in South Africa, the pain that is in Cote d'Ivoire must affect us as a people, Mr. Speaker, because we are one African people, we are one humanity, Mr. Speaker, and therefore I condemn what my brother Senator Cherargei did pronounce in the weekend about what's happening in Uganda, Mr. Speaker, and about our colleagues and our people and the city of this country who are detained in Uganda, Mr. Speaker. Detention is something that you will never want to see. And I like this bill, this motion, Mr. Speaker, because it is a one step forward to making sure that this kind of dubious things that happens behind bars when people are in custody, Mr. Speaker, don't ever happen, Mr. Speaker. The pain we felt as young people when Albert Ojwang died in a police cell, Mr. Speaker, is a pain that we never want to see any other young person face in this country, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, this is a very important motion, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that we can support it, and I hope that even our colleagues in the lower house, Mr. Speaker, will support this kind of motion to make sure that we can monitor, we can be able to see what is happening in real time, and even post an event in a police cell, Mr. Speaker, and protect the dignity of lives in our country. And therefore, I support, Mr. Speaker, and I hope that we as a House will pass this with the haste that it requires to make it a reality in our country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Senator Okiya Omtata.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank you for the opportunity to contribute to this motion. And guided by the ruling you made, I will not refer to the decision that was made by the land judge. And I'm happy that the contributions have not referred to that decision. So we take it that we are basically contributing on this motion in terms of our understanding of the situation in this country as it stands today. Mr. Speaker, I fully agree that the motion contributes to transparency and accountability and the possibility of other things. But we must realize that we cannot fix a cultural problem using technology. Technology can only enhance an attitude. We have had problems even with the elections, with the Kim's kids and whatever we have had in conclusive elections. So our attitude is what needs to be done, changed. Our culture is what we need to address, and technology cannot fix that. We just heard that the cameras were turned off in the Ojwang case. There have been no consequences to that. It is not a question of cameras. I think it's a question of attitude. And I think what we must look at maybe is the autonomy of the police. How autonomous is our police force? How independent is the police force? And of course, I also want to point out the dangers that Senator Osotsi has raised in terms of privacy issues. We also have got issues whereby this beautiful thing can easily become a white elephant, where we dump a lot of money into it, as happened with the police surveillance cameras, and hardly get any value out of it. I would also want to look at the work environment of the police officer. I've seen police officers walking in torn shoes, tattered uniforms, or weather-beaten uniforms. I assume that person is coming from a home where things are not okay. You have seen police stations. There's one in Mathare, totally unfit for human habitation. It's a police station. So, somebody wearing a body cam in such a situation, I wonder what he will do with that cam. Let us look at the holistic environment within which the police operate, and this just be one of the interventions that we put there, maybe at the tail end, but most important, we must change the culture. I've been detained in police cells 29 times. And all those times, you'll find that the first thing you get to know is where the toilet is in the police cells, because the stench is horrible from most police cells. So, how do you think of the people who work in those environments? Go to Pangani police station here and see the conditions under which the officers are serving. It's not a small police station. It's a major police station. So I think this motion, timely as it is, needs to be expanded to address the entire question of policing in this country. We enter the culture of disregarding the police, the culture of misusing the police, the culture of not being professional in the way they work, the culture of not giving police the equipment and the tools to work with. You'll find the police officers go on the beat, they're armed with a G3 rifle. If such a police officer is threatened by a suspect who is going maybe to arrest or to arraign, he's going to use devastating force to try and protect himself. We may need equipment like stun guns that can immobilize a hostile suspect and allow the police to arrest him safely. So I personally think that we need to look at the whole question of policing in a holistic manner, and also look at the legal framework within which the police are operating. You know very well that in 2014, we amended, when I say we, I mean Parliament, amended the Police Service Act, the National Police Service Act, to remove the requirement for the competitive recruitment of the Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the two Deputy Inspectors General of Police, and the Director of Criminal Investigations. It also amended to remove the security of tenure that these people enjoyed. So at the end of the day, the police are put under the command of whoever has the capacity to appoint the IG, to appoint the deputy IGs, and to appoint the DCI. And we have seen that from that 2014, the appointments of these people have not been on merit. They have been based on a standard that has escaped the comprehension of some of us who pursue detail. It's a mysterious standard. So, in a situation like that, where the police are basically working at the pleasure of the president, the police command is working at the pleasure of the president, that police force can hardly be independent. It's not independent. It can hardly be professional. So I think we need to look at the police issues in slightly more serious manner than we do. Right now, if you go to my county, We have got an AP police station in Busia town, which is right on the border. The other side of the compound opens into Uganda. How safe are those policemen? If you go to Teso Central, which was created simply recently, which was carved out of Teso South, the Teso South group moved out with all the equipment. The officer who sits in Amukura in Teso Central, the police, the AP police, have nothing to use. And then they are respect to police. Those kind of conditions do not create an environment where policing can be considered to be democratic policing or the policing that is required in a democratic republic like Kenya. So it's my plea to this House that as we look at this motion, which is a good motion, maybe we consider expanding it to cover the totality of the welfare of the police. So that once you have taken care of the individual who is supposed to police us, then you can expect them to keep those standards that we have placed upon them. But if we violate the rights of the police to housing, the rights of the police to fair salaries, the rights of police to other things that we seek to enjoy, the rights to education, to health, working conditions. You find policemen have got no vehicles, or if they have a vehicle, they have got no fuel. They are buying uniforms. They are not supplied with uniforms. When they come on operations, we are having the riots we have, the demonstrations we had in this country recently. I used to look at the policemen, and none of them, there were no rations. Even water, a person is doing very serious work of protecting society. He has to go and buy water. There's no backup. What happens to police rations? What happens to these rations that go for operations? When you look at the budgets, there's a lot of money for operations, there's a lot of money for whatever. Where does that money go? And especially the lower ranks of the police. They go out, they work very hard, they sleep rough. Then they are sometimes paid some small allowances, which again their seniors steal. So I think we need to address the question of policing in Kenya in a more comprehensive and exhaustive manner, beyond what this motion is proposing, and maybe include some of the issues that are in this motion, so that, having expanded this motion, we can comprehensively and conclusively say that we have addressed the question of policing. Otherwise, we shall be like people putting balm on a septic wound. These cameras might turn out just be a decoration. If they can be turned off without consequences, as it happened in Ojwang's case, we need a legal framework whereby there are consequences for turning off a body cam or a vehicle camera or things, a dash cam or something like that. We must have a legal framework for addressing those kind of excesses. So I would request that, as I support this motion, I would request that maybe the draft of the motion considers expanding it beyond the presentation of a cultural problem as one that can be fixed with technology, to go and address the underlying problems that are bringing policing into disrepute in this country. It's very disheartening to see a police officer walking in torn shoes. It's very sad. The constable on the beat is the symbol of the republic. That's why it's a police officer who wears the crown on their head. The emblem is worn, they wear on their body, the security officers. The military people, the police, they wear it on their body. On the president, the emblem is placed on the wall. Even Madam Speaker, the emblem for you is on the wall up there, it's not on your body. It's only a police officer. It's only a security officer, military officer, who wear those things, because security is a major ingredient of a republic. And so if it's a pillar of the republic, how are we treating our security people? How are we treating our security? We have seen in Boni, wherever they are being killed, they are dying. Hardly do we get accountability. Why people would be in a war zone in a light-skinned vehicle that goes over a landmine and they all die. I have a motion in this house, a petition in this house, where more than 400 police officers who are injured in the course of duty have been assessed and cleared for compensation, have for years not been paid. What is happening? When you come to the question of promotion within the ranks and files, those who don't know anybody never get promoted. Promotions have become a preserve of relatives, friends, and the connected. The force is dying, the force is crying, and it is this house which has the tools and the capacity to save the Kenya Police Service, the administration police, and in general the entire National Police Service. We are also seeing the incessant fights between the Inspector General of Police and the Commissioner, the Commission, the National Police Service Commission. These are among other things that are again undermining policing in this country. We have now seen two court cases have been filed. Why is it not possible for this house to look into these things and make, if the law is having a lacuna, this house should fix the lacuna. We have got Professor Ojanda here, very seasoned professor of law. They could help us to fix those kind of lacunas so that we can have the intention of the framers of the Constitution who came up with the National Police Service to oversight the human resource needs of the police to do so. We also need to look at the question of a police union. The police in this country must be allowed to form a labor union like policemen across the world have, so that their needs can also be addressed in a formal and structured manner. The idea that the police cannot form a union that they can go to when they are in distress is one of the issues that is contributing to the mental illness many policemen are facing today, the suicides, the murders, the desertions, and the later the work. I don't know, almost today an average policeman in Kenya is a drunkard. Some are even obese. They're supposed to be soldiers, they're obese. Total disorganization in the force. So we need to bring discipline back, but we need to do it comprehensively and look at the culture of policing in this country. And then once we get the police properly...
Senator Majority, what is your point of order?
Madam Speaker, I was really enjoying the submissions by my friend Senator Mtata and learning a thing or two until he uttered the words that the average policeman is a drunkard. Mr. Speaker, I think that's an unfair judgment on our officers. While there is an alcohol problem, which even none other than the Cabinet Secretary for Interior has confirmed, because I've seen occasionally some of them completely inebriated and unable to carry out the responsibility, I think to pass judgment on nearly half the members of our institution is not a fair assessment. Maybe he would have said there is an alcohol problem amongst quite a good number of officers which needs to be addressed, but I felt that his use of the word on average, that's a bit too strong, Senator Mtata, and I don't think that's a statement of fact, which I want to request if you can kindly omit it and replace it with a more suitable judgment on our officers.
Senator Omtata, unless you have any scientific evidence that the average police person in Kenya is a drunkard, withdraw that. Withdraw that statement.
The word average is not scientific itself. So, but I think the way Majority has done it, he has put it in there. I think we should replace my words with what he has just said. I agree fully with
it. It is you to replace your words, not we. Don't bring us into your...
Yeah, so I request the Hansard to adopt, I can't get, if I try to repeat and mess it up. He put it so well. He's a poet.
So you are withdrawing and adopting the words of the majority.
I'm withdrawing and adopting the words of the majority leader. The way he
proceed,
put it.
Proceed.
Yeah, so I'm saying that the culture around policing needs to be addressed holistically. This motion is important, but it is trying to put lipstick on a pig, as they put it.
Can you give the senator 1 minute to finalize his lipstick statement?
It does not holistically address the problem. So I think that we ask the move of this motion to look at it, and I've had so many good comments that have come from the members, to see if we can expand this motion to be an entry point for this House to try and address the problem of policing in this country and see how we can assist them, and even ensure that the big budgets that we allocate to the police end up doing the work that the police are supposed to do. That's what I'll pray, because when you go to, everywhere you go, you find they are saying they have no fuel, they have nothing, they are stuck. But then we allocate a lot of money to the police. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I support the motion with amendments as proposed.
Senator Professor Ojenda.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I wish to contribute to the motion that has been filed before this House by Senator Nyamu. And Mr. Speaker, to start with, I want to state that the National Police Service is created by Article 243 of the Constitution, and the service defines the mode of hiring of the IG, the 2 deputy IGs, and other officers. Mr. Speaker, it cannot be gainsaid that this country reels from a deficit of police in the service, and I am aware, Mr. Speaker, that perhaps it is time, and I hope that it will resolve, that the intention to hire 10,000 police officers in addition to those serving would go a long way in ensuring that the police service delivers to the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, it is therefore clear that the motion that has been brought before the House would only be useful if a comprehensive reform to the police service is undertaken as per the recommendations of the Maraga Task Force. That task force, Mr. Speaker, puts into place recommendations that touch on the conditions of service for the police. It deals with the issues of welfare and deals with several areas that require improvement. And I agree, Mr. Speaker, as Mr. Senator Mtata stated this afternoon, that this motion is a motion in futility if it is not implemented with the incorporation of the various reforms that the Maraga Task Force has recommended. Because you cannot, Mr. Speaker, purport to introduce CCTV monitoring equipment in police stations without a framework when we know that the operation of those CCTVs, Madam Speaker, depend on the very officers whose welfare ought to be addressed by the proposals in the Maraga Task Force. And therefore, that must be done first. Now, Speaker, the second point that I wish to point to is that in terms of human rights violations, and I must commend the service, what we have in the service now, IG Kanja, the 2 deputies that assist him in his work, have demonstrated, have revamped the workings of the police force. They have revamped the workings, Madam Speaker, to the extent that we see an improvement in the manner that the police do their work. And that can only be improved, Madam Speaker, if we adopt every piece of recommendation in the Maraga Task Force. But let me move and state, Madam Speaker, that the motion also has failed to address what the provisions of Sections 2 and Section 18 and 19 of the Data Protection Act. The introduction of some of those CCTV images, Madam Speaker, or the installations would be a violation to private rights. So that this motion must incorporate, Madam Speaker, those provisions that preserve rights of individuals. We know, Madam Speaker, and we have addressed several issues on human rights. Human rights are universal. There are rights, Madam Speaker, that are not only erga omnes, but also jus cogens. And I don't need to educate the majority leader on jus cogens. It just means that they are so trite, they must be respected by every nation. And it is, Madam Speaker, irrelevant that an individual does not belong to a state. And that is why when Senator Eddy was commenting on the Treaty for Establishment of the East African Community in 1999, specifically Article 126, that enjoins countries in East Africa to cooperate towards a joint mechanism that would ensure a federation, a monetary union, and finally a federation for East Africa, the 5 stages of our union in East Africa. That treaty, Madam Speaker, is under threat of violation when we see certain violations in the region. It cannot therefore be gainsaid, Madam Speaker, that the violations of human rights that occur in our brother or sister states must be viewed with concern, because we must move towards implementing the treaty. And that is why we must see a working East African Legislative Assembly. I understand, Madam Speaker, that the Assembly is not as functional as it ought to be, and that should be a concern of this House, because the Assembly, some of the members of the Assembly have not received their salaries for several months, Madam Speaker, because some of the countries in East Africa do not contribute their share. For the avoidance of doubt, Madam Speaker, Kenya has consistently contributed her share to the ESC. And Madam Speaker, as we deal with human rights violations in the region, we must be alive to the fact that these issues touch all of us and concern all of us, and we must work a framework of a healthy East Africa and East African states that obey human rights. For the motion, Madam Speaker, let me say this. This motion must be amended to make sense, because you cannot, as you say, Madam Speaker, provide protection to a hungry crowd. The police need better service. The police need a better working environment to be able to deliver to the people of this country. We need more policemen. And aside the litigation that is going on, Madam Speaker, we need policemen to be employed so that these policemen, Madam Speaker, can serve the people of this country, because we are moving to a period where we need even services of these police persons, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Senators, pursuant to my powers under Article 45(2), I wish to direct that we move on to order number 23. Thank you. Honorable Senators, the mover is not around to reply, so we defer the replying to the motion. And as earlier indicated, pursuant to 45(2), I wish to call on order number 23. Thank you.
Oh, I thought. Oh.
Order number 23, the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bills number 45 of 2024, second reading.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I rise to move that the Public Finance Management Amendment Bill, National Assembly Bill number 45 of 2024, be now read a second time. Madam Speaker, this PFM Amendment Bill number 45 of 2024 is a particularly interesting one. This is one of the many bills, Madam Speaker, I have hoped that we'd consider over time. But like I have learned, Madam Speaker, everyone's jobs ends up being no one's job. Many times we say these things, then we leave it, and we assume that somebody will think for us. I cannot remember the number of times while commenting on BPS that almost every senator has made this request that this amendment is about, that the House be granted sufficient time to consider the budget policy statement, that it is not tenable, the 14 days that we are granted within which to listen to the public, make our decisions as committee, compile it, and bring it to the House. In fact, if possible, Madam Speaker, it will make more sense, other than have it compiled by the budget committee as is a tradition, to have actually the individual committees present their findings individually. You have the chair for ICT come here and give their perspective and their view on the proposed bill. Then you have the chair for health come and explain to us why National Treasury still want to continue hanging on to stipend for community health promoters as opposed to releasing that money to counties so that governors can pay, Madam Speaker, and so on and so forth. There are many things which I feel if we had sufficient time to consider the BPS, then the House will be better armed, actually, to respond to the call of interrogating our budget. This bill was published, actually, in the Kenya Gazette Supplement number 190 of 2024, last year, November. It's actually taken almost a year plus in the National Assembly. The principal object of this bill, of course, is to amend Act 412A, which is to extend the time within which Parliament considers and makes recommendation to the BPS, to extend the time within which the CS for Finance complies with the debt management provisions, and to put in place a framework for the implementation of accrual accounting in government. Madam Speaker, the extension of time within which Parliament considers and makes recommendations to the BPS from 14 days to 21 days will allow Parliament sufficient time to carry out public participation, debate, and make cogent recommendations on vital budget document. I need not emphasize, my colleagues, many times you've had each of us say how 14 days is such a short period. Of course, you understand that we work in a very tight fiscal cycle of only 12 months, which many times, Madam Speaker, when we resume at the beginning of the next session, around February of next year, Madam Speaker, it's a fast business that awaits us. And within that time, we have a short time to consider this, send it back to National Treasury, they put it together, then they send the proposed budget to the Assembly, who have to carry out public participation and all those things, especially remembering that in a budget like the one for last year, for next year actually, it's the last budget before the elections, and therefore, Madam Speaker, has a lot of interest. Further to that, Madam Speaker, Clause 2 of this bill proposes to amend Section 25(7) of the PFM Act to provide that Parliament shall not later than 21 days after the BPS is submitted to Parliament table and discuss a report containing its recommendation and pass a resolution to adopt it with or without amendments. The extended time for consideration of statement by Parliament from 14 to 21 days, and to amend Section 25(9) of the Act to provide the National Treasury shall publish and publicize the BPS not later than 22 days after the submission of the statement to Parliament. These extend time for publishing and publication to 21 days. I have explained that. Section 50 of this Act also imposes certain obligations relating to debt management to the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. One, these include, under Section 52, that borrowing by the national government shall not exceed 55% of the gross domestic product in present value terms under Section 52C, the amendment that we did here at the beginning of this term, Madam Speaker. The debt threshold set out in 52 came into force in 2023. The bill, therefore, to provide a different date for coming into force of this provision. Clause 3 of the bill proposes to delete Section 52C and submit the new session that provide the Cabinet Secretary to ensure that borrowing by the national government complies with the threshold under Section 50, 2A, Madam Speaker. We had a long debate about this, and I believe that the Budget and Finance Committee of this House will actually lead us into making a more reasoned decision on this particular proposal during the Committee of the Whole stage. The Clause 4, Madam Speaker, is to amend Section 194(1) to provide that the Accounting Standards Board shall provide a framework for the implementation of accrual accounting in government, and further the board shall prescribe risk management framework. The bill further proposes to amend 194 by inserting a new subsection 6 to provide for transition period to 3 years to accrual system of accounting in government. There are many people who've been calling for this because it basically means, Madam Speaker, that we shall be spending on reality of what we have as opposed to the current system where we believe and hope that there's some amount that we'll collect, and therefore hoping has gotten us to where we are today, where close to 70% of our collections, Madam Speaker, end up paying debt. Therefore, this is a simple amendment, but with very consequential findings, which I hope that colleagues can find time to debate, share their thoughts about it. I'll be particularly interested by the findings of the Budget and Finance Committee on this matter, so that we know whether indeed they have considered the requests that have been made here, Madam Speaker, and leaders. With those many remarks, Madam Speaker, I beg to move and request Senator Professor Tom Ojienda to second.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I second the motion for the proposed amendments. Madam Speaker, it is clear that timelines are important to the extent, Madam Speaker, that budget policy statements must be debated within a sufficient time, and the proposal to amend the sections in question, Section 25 and other sections, is an important section. Madam Speaker, these amendments will improve the substance of business that this House will undertake, and in the light of the proposed timelines and timeframes as per the proposals, Madam Speaker, I second.
Honorable Senators, I propose the question that the Public Finance Management Amendment number 4 Bill, National Assembly Bills number 45 of 2024 be now read a second time. Senator Mtata.
My lady, Madam Speaker, the Public Finance Management Act is one of the key pieces of legislation in this country. It operationalizes Chapter 12 of the Constitution on public finance. It has many good things, it has many bad things, and I think the budget policy statement, which is the broad, the broad outline of the budget that is made annually, which annually is the broad guideline for the annual budgets, is a very, very important process. And I agree with the mover of the motion and the seconder that this is a very, very important amendment that needs to be done. We need to be given adequate time to interrogate and audit the proposals for the budget, and if possible, be able to ferret out cases of budgetary corruption, which may be padded in the budget, intended distortions of equitable sharing, and stuff like that. So the amendment is extremely important, and I would urge my colleagues in this House to support that amendment, that we be given adequate time to scrutinize the budget proposals. 14 days are inadequate, and as the mover said, the majority leader, within those 14 days, we are supposed to have the committee meet and look at it, maybe, and as it's a parliamentary tradition, subject it to public participation, and then come back, subject it to debate in this House, and then vote on it. That kind of restriction reduces this House to a rubber stamp, whereby we have to decide between having a bad budget or having no budget at all. And that leads to a situation whereby sometimes things that are passed in this House, that when you encounter them later on, you say, how come this thing went through the House unnoticed. So it's a very, very important proposal that we bring that out. In moving the motion, the Honorable Majority Leader made a reference to the budget ceiling in the Public Finance Management Act. Although he mentioned it like something that is good, to me it is something that's unconstitutional. When you look at Article 220 of the Constitution, especially Clause 1, B and C, they address the question of borrowing. And they require that borrowing must be clearly indicated in the budget, with the proposals of how it is going to be repaid, the loans are going to be repaid. When you come to a budget ceiling that says that you are going to borrow 55% of the GDP, it violates that provision, that in every budget, Parliament must set the limits of that borrowing, and it must justify whether there is capacity to repay those loans or not. That's what the Constitution requires. A budget statement, a debt ceiling gives the executive a blank check. And we have seen what that has done in this country. The debt, since we came up with the idea of debt ceiling, our borrowing has gone haywire. Just for historical purposes, the concept of a debt ceiling came into vogue in the USA during the First World War. In the USA, the structure was that, Congress had full control of money. Unlike us here, who have full control nothing. You saw Congress the other day they have shut down government for 40 days because they could not agree how the money was going to be used. Money is controlled by the House. Today, I think it's when the senators voted and some crossed over and the 60 threshold was met. So there might be a minimum opening of the House in the UK, in the US. But that as it may be, they still have the debt ceiling issue. And the debt ceiling since 2017, when it was introduced during the First World War, to allow the American executive procure, then come to tell Parliament how it has been procuring to fight that war, has remained in the US. And today, the US has got one of the biggest debts in the world. It's the most indebted country in the world. The only lack they have is that they print the dollar. And when they print the dollar, they cause inflation outside because we also use the dollar. So they are covered that way. But the debt ceiling resulted in Congress losing control over borrowing by the American government. And it has led to that problem. In our circumstances, we also have the other problem whereby, realistically speaking, debts are paid from taxes. We don't pay debt from GDP. In a country like Kenya, where I think 10 or less % of the population owns 90% of the economy, the GDP is a very misleading figure when you come to debt. Because when you go to taxation, that 10% that owns 9% of the economy will only pay 30% of their income or something like that to the debt. And so the GDP will not reflect in taxes. Then we shall be borrowing a debt that we cannot finance, that we cannot pay back. So we need to go back, and that amendment should be expanded to deal with the amendment to remove the debt ceiling as a guiding threshold for borrowing. And we go back to Article 220, Clause 1, B and C of the Constitution, which prescribes that in every budget,
we must address the question of public debt in every budget so that we can be able to determine whether we have capacity to pay what we have borrowed or not. And if we are borrowing, how do we intend to finance that loan? So that when the loan is being borrowed, we must be able to look through long term and see how is this loan going to be repaid? What activities are going to repay this loan? Number two, that long-term look will also give us a chance to look at Article 201 of the Constitution, Section C, which requires that the benefits of borrowing must be spread between the current generations and the future generations. So this amendment, and it's also good that we need more time to look at the budget proposals so that we can also be able to interrogate the budget to determine whether it addresses that particular requirement that the future generations must be taken care of in every budget that we make. So, Madam Speaker, this is a very, very important amendment which I support, which I plead that this House considers favorably. And as we go along, we must also look at other aspects of the Public Finance Management Act. In mind, I have Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act, which establishes the National Treasury as a ministry of the national government. We have 48 governments. When you look at Article 251, Clause A, Madam Speaker, it requires Parliament to establish, by an act of Parliament, to establish the National Treasury. If you look at the design of our Constitution, we have 48 governments. This House has one of its core businesses is to protect devolution. When the Treasury becomes part of the national government, devolution suffers. And that's why you have found that the counties are unable to get money on time. The law requires that they get money by the 15th of every month. We hardly see that happening in our counties because the national government, which has hijacked the Treasury, using Section 11, only gives counties money after it has had its fill. You have heard even the person of His Excellency, the President, say that under my government I've ensured that statement should never be made by anybody. We need an independent treasury that can serve the 48 governments based on what Parliament has passed, not on what the President desires. And Section 11, Madam Speaker, whereas Article which purports to operationalize Article 251, Clause A, Clause 1, states, if I may paraphrase it, states something like the National Treasury comprises the Minister for Finance, the Permanent Secretary for Finance, and the departments. Now, Madam Speaker, as you know, the Minister for Finance is an appointee of the President. The PS for Finance is an appointee of the President. They don't enjoy security of tenure. So basically what we have done through that Public Finance, Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act, is to make the President the Treasurer of the Republic of Kenya. And we have seen that in practical terms, parliamentarians make a budget. They pass a budget. We are going to have to do budget policy statement. It will go through the whatever motions. It ends up in the National Assembly. It's passed. It goes into for the President, he signs it into law. It becomes an appropriation act. For all practical purposes, it is usually shelved. The budget that is then implemented is a budget that is not approved by Parliament. You will see that whenever the President goes to a public function, even a funeral, you will find the MPs from the area standing up and telling him they need a bridge, they need a road, they need whatever, All those things are not in the budget they passed. And the president will stand up and grant them. Because we have subverted the constitution to a point whereby, whereas we are required to manage this country using the budget, it has become a formality. What runs the country is what the president determines. Right now, we got a loan of 13 billion, I read in the papers, from the World Bank, for Nyota Yetu. Nyota Yetu is nowhere in the budget. It's nowhere in any. It's tying us to a big loan of 13 billion. Because the president wanted it to be done, it's going to be done. You have seen a lot of loans being signed whenever the president travels. These loans are not in the budget. They have not been approved by Parliament. They get signed and are binding the people of Kenya. But why is all that happening? You again go to the Public Finance Management Act. What has it done? Whereas the Constitution requires only Parliament to approve borrowing and what have you, it has vested power in the Cabinet Secretary for the Treasury to be able to borrow loans. And so we end up with a very big, huge debt stock of odious debt in this country. The majority leader talked of 70% of the money we collect going to pay debts, which means 70 shillings out of every 100 shillings that the Kenya Revenue Authority collects goes to pay loans. The correct figure is worse than that. When I did a study on that odious debt last year, by 30th November, it was 82 shillings out of every 100 shillings that the Treasury collects that goes to service debt. The government is left virtually with nothing. The other day, I read in the East African, I've not verified it, I read in the East African, the figure had grown to 92 shillings, 92%, 92 shillings of every 100 shillings that the KRA collects is going to service debt. Then we have reached a situation whereby we are borrowing money to pay debt when it's very clear in the law that we cannot borrow money to pay debt. The most known example was the one that happened the other day in February 2024. We borrowed more than 2 billion shillings to pay the Eurobond debts. Yet the law, Article 214 of the Constitution, makes debts a direct charge on the consolidated fund. So you begin wondering, why is it that we are spending all that money, debt is supposed to be a direct charge on the consolidated fund, how come then that we are still borrowing to pay debt? You find you have got this thing called domestic borrowing. Very clear in the Public Finance Management Act that you can only borrow domestically to sustain cash flows, which must be repaid within the year, short term. You must borrow. Any other borrowing must be through Parliament. You have seen infrastructure bonds being floated by government. They have not been debated in Parliament. You have seen treasury bonds being sold in this country, binding the country for many years. Is not been approved by Parliament. You have got these rollovers that you see in the statement of actual revenue and net exchequer issues that the Treasury publishes every 21 days after the end of the month. When you read those statements, you find you have even a rollover that has been running from 1979. You ask yourself, what is happening with the public finance management in this country? And so the law that says Public Finance Management Act is a very, very important act in terms of managing the economy of this country, in terms of achieving, I saw the president say the other day, something I've always been saying, and I was happy he said it, that we can make Kenya a first world country right now. But you cannot make Kenya a first world country right now unless we go that way of fiscal discipline. If we go borrowing and throwing money around, throwing good money to bad problems, we are not going to achieve that. So this motion is extremely important for this country. Let us get ample time to interrogate, audit, and ferret out any bad things from our budgets so that we can be able to come out to find a budget that can run this country. But I would request the movers to consider even amending those articles, Article 57, B, C, and D, which allows money borrowed by the national government to be banked offshore and not in the consolidated fund, as required by the Constitution in Article 206. We must look at Section 11 of the Public Finance Management Act and also repeal it and go and create an act of parliament that creates the ministry and that creates the treasury not as a ministry of the national government, but as an independent institution governed by professionals and oversighted by parliament, whereby the control of money is then taken away from the president and vested in parliament. Where money sits with the presidency or with the executive and the power of the purse are together, you end up with what you call the imperial presidency, or an emperor, who is a distributor of goods and services. And you can see our president, wherever he goes, he carries a bag of goodies, which are not in the budget. But that's how that's what the law has done. So we should come back and put the power of the purse back in the House, so that even the president cannot have money to give away. If he wants to do something, he must propose it to Parliament through the budget. And if I want something done in my area, it should not depend on my proximity to the president. And you know you cannot approach power standing straight, you have to bow. It must depend on my relationship with fellow MPs whom I can lobby and negotiate, and we put it in the budget, and then it becomes law, and then it's implemented. So with those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support the motion with the proposed amendments. Thank you.
I don't see another request for speaking, so the mover may reply.
Mr. Speaker, apologies, Madam Speaker, I want to thank Senator Mtata and Senator Professor Tom Ojenda for their thoughts on this very interesting topic. This is about the future of our country. Madam Speaker, when the public debt debate came to Parliament in 2018 or 2019, I moved on the floor of this House to oppose it vehemently, because I knew that I'm doing so for the sake of the future generations of this country, who will bear a great burden beyond which the call of any parent or adult who is in a position of responsibility should pass over to the next generation. Unfortunately, Parliament speaks through the votes of the majority, and they had their way that day. But I lived to be happy and see that day, Madam Speaker, when under tremendous pressure, it was confirmed to the country the level of debt exposure that this country was left in after the 10 years of the Jubilee administration. In fact, Madam Speaker, you know, I heard the president, former president, the other day say that he spent the first 2.5 years of his presidency finishing the projects of President Kibaki. President Uhuru should know that we are in the third year and we can't finish his problems. We are still trying to sort it, which is the greatest gift he gave a country, which is skyrocketed public debt that we are trying to solve up to this date, Madam Speaker. And it's unfortunate because we don't appear to yet have grasped this problem and appreciate that this is a threat even to our national security. Part of the dissatisfaction that you see with many members of the public today is on account of an economy that is cash-starved. And how does an economy become cash-starved, Madam Speaker? It becomes cash-starved because the biggest consumer of goods and services, which is the government, doesn't spend. And the reason they don't spend is because they have nothing to spend. Because everything that we collect, Madam Speaker, unfortunately, never leaves the proximity of Harambee Avenue. It's collected at Times Towers, heads 50 meters to the National Treasury, and off it goes to pay debt of people who have managed their resources better than us over the years. And it's really a problem which, Madam Speaker, if we do not address with the finality that it deserves, we shall live to regret in days coming by. I must appreciate, Madam Speaker, that at the beginning of 2022, the World Bank actually had predicted that there were 6 African nations that were likely to default on their debt and come down under a debt strain. 5 of those economies, unfortunately, actually defaulted on their debt, and to date, their currency has never recovered. I think you have Ethiopia, Ghana, and I can't recall the other 3, Madam Speaker. Kenya is the only one that survived, but we are not yet out of the woods, and we shouldn't feel proud about the situation that we ourselves in. Despite the tight fiscal space that we continue to work in today, the threat for defaulting still exists, Madam Speaker. And we must always bear that in mind every time we carry on our responsibilities. And it's time we have a prudent or an adult conversation in this country about how we manage the resources. 2.4 trillion shillings, Senator Mtata, is not small money. Forget about the debt that you're talking about that you're paying. We asked the other week here, who are these people that we are paying 80 billion Kenya shillings every month in form of compensation to public workers? 80 billion is not small money. It is actually nearly a third of the funds or a fifth of the funds that we devolve to counties. Yet we spend it on less than 1 million people. Yet, if it is a fifth, it means it takes care of nearly a fifth of the counties that are in this country. Nearly 10 counties, Madam Speaker, that has populations of millions of people. But those resources are being consumed by less than 1 million citizens that live off the public wage bill. And it's something that we must confront, because it is the biggest strain on our public resources over and above repayment of our debt. And I like the conversation which the minister began, but I have not seen him advance a decision, difficult as it may be. You know the problem in this country. That's why I disagreed with Senator Cherargei when he brought here a motion the other day saying, oh, we need to increase the stipend for, I don't know, interns. And I said, what is wrong with us? Haven't we realized how much of the overstrain we are putting on the national pass by insisting that everybody who comes to demonstrate outside Parliament here must be absorbed on permanent and pensionable basis? In fact, Madam Speaker, that is something that we need to propose to the country and have a conversation with them on the realities of our economic situation and why it is not possible to continue employing at the rate at which we are doing. Despite the fact that there are people who retire, others either on account of age or illness or due to natural situations like death, Madam Speaker, it still is not enough a measure to give us the comfort to employ the numbers that I see being employed on a daily basis. Members of Budget and Finance Committee must lead us as the House as we look in this law to think through and see whether what is being proposed to us makes sense, particularly on the issue of debt anchor. Is it not possible, and I had asked this question earlier, that if you want to have a different commencement date, no problem, but at least fix it in law, how much fiscal deficit is allowed year on year, so that it is known for a fact that if you ever try to do a budget beyond a certain fiscal deficit, then it is considered an illegal budget. That's the only way we can assure the country that we are working on a strict fiscal framework. Otherwise, Madam Speaker, if we just pass on the date and say that the commencement for this maybe will be 2028 or I don't know 2029, it's fine. But what is the assurance that the Treasury will comply, that our colleagues in the National Assembly will observe, yet we know what is happening? Senator Mtata, I'm not sure whether what you're proposing will work, because the National Assembly has been a big player and active participant in this mess that we find ourselves in. CDF, which began at a paltry 50, 60 million hardly 10 years ago, Today is over 200 million Kenya shillings. And you can see the appetite, the way it is increasing. All these projects that you see being lined up in the budget, some of them beyond the proposal of Treasury, are because our colleagues in the National Assembly have figured how to rally their colleagues and put in a project here and another on there without the final consideration that we don't have the resources to live large like they're encouraging us to do. It is unfortunate, Madam Speaker, that even as we speak this, we are fully aware that unless we put a stop by law on this issue of debt increase, and the only way you can do it is through the means that I have proposed, that even if you give them additional time, then guide, show, work out scientifically year on year. If the fiscal deficit for last year was 4.9, then reduce it to 4.5 in the subsequent financial year. Adequately in the next financial year, bring it down to 4 until we get to that point. Otherwise, it will get still to that 2028 and another amendment will come. This time proposing that, oh, maybe we now try and achieve a particular target. Because of the effects of politics. The unfortunate thing in all this is politics. At the end of the day, when the head of state and members of parliament and even us senators, we visit our constituents, there's a demand for a road here, a demand for a bridge on the other part, and we are all pushing back that resource basket. Yet development is not evenly balanced. And this is a challenge that we continue to face up to this date, Madam Speaker, where there are regions that have had their share, but because of the convenient politics of the day, others continue to struggle. We were with you in Busia. You saw the kind of traffic mess that you find yourself in on the road from Kisumu to Busia, an international highway.
Order, Senator Edio. Okay, we can't hear the speaker properly.
I was talking about the road from Kisumu to Busia, for example. Yet, we see billions being appropriated each year to sections of the country which, to the best of my knowledge, have actually don't, okay, I'm not sure whether don't deserve, Madam Speaker. For them, it is not a priority as much as it is, for example, for people of that section of the country. You can see the number of accidents. I think even Senator Mtata previously, you had an accident on that road. Yeah, he survived actually narrowly. Because it's a thin road. Despite the fact that you have tankers, you have trailers that are moving goods to Uganda, you know, prioritization of all these things. Yet, we cannot do it because of the influence of politics and patronage of our national resources. So, Senator Mtata, I'm not sure whether leaving it in the hands of politicians like you and me will still solve this situation, despite the fact you can move it from the executive and bring it to parliament and make it even worse. We must learn fiscal discipline by agreeing on a framework. Look at what has happened to Americans. They've shut down their government for almost 40 days because they couldn't agree on what is the prioritization of expenditure. We must get to that place where when we want to live beyond our means, we tell each other that this is the resource pool that is available, agree on where to spend it. Nothing more, nothing less. Anything else that we are discussing here, to the best of my knowledge, Madam Speaker, is waste of precious time. I do not want to take long, Madam Speaker, because I can see that we are actually out of time. But I think this is a topic that we need to have a better conversation. And Senator Mtata, we need to think more deeply and do something in the House beyond just what you are saying, because unfortunately not many people follow this kind of conversations. Thank you, Senator Ojienda, for your contributions as well. Madam Speaker, with those many remarks, I beg to reply. I request, in accordance with Standing Order number 66.3, that we defer the putting of a question. I thank you.
It is so deferred. Next order.
Order number 24, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 46 of 2023, second reading.
The order is deferred because the mover is not here. Next order.
Order number 25, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 49 of 2023, second reading.
Also deferred. Next order.
Order number 26, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Control Amendment Bill, Senate Bills number 1 of 2024.